Friday. I am so excited for this trip. John, I can't believe you got us a place for skiing the week before Christmas. This is going to be the best Christmas vacation ever, don't you think, kids? Yep, this is going to be great. All right, let's make this our last stop. Remember, no delays. Let's load up and get going. She turned to her husband. Thank you, dear, for making this possible. Just another reason I love you so much. She reached across the car and gave John's knee a gentle squeeze. He glanced in the rearview mirror. We'll have time for that later, Jamie. We're in a 2-bedroom condo. One for the kids and one for us. Now let me focus. You know the rules. And so it began. Her main goal this week was to do everything she could to keep him happy so things would go smoothly. It was best to avoid any conflict. She looked back at Chris and Haley, who were 10 and 12 years old, just 18 months apart. With headphones on, they were deeply engaged with their games. They knew the rules, too. It was better to stay quiet and not move around or ask to stop for any reason. As they continued the 4-hour drive to the slopes, her mind wandered. Thoughts and memories floated by. She recalled the vision board she had made in high school. She had been on the right path, straight A's, or almost. A dual major in business and accounting. She had a promising job waiting for her far from her strict parents. Then she met John. He was easygoing, friendly, a good listener, and made her laugh. They enjoyed the same things. Before long, they were very close. The time they spent together was nice, though she didn't have much to compare to. But just before graduation, she discovered she was going to have a baby. How? She was on the pill and took it very seriously at the same time every day. The last few packs looked a bit different, but she thought it was just a different brand. Suddenly, her plans changed overnight. John suggested they could end the pregnancy, but she couldn't do that. She felt a connection to the life growing inside her. Instead, she decided she would become a single mom. But then he asked her to marry him. Shortly after graduation, they had a small courthouse wedding. No dress, no celebration, and a very quick honeymoon. Her parents refused to let her show her situation publicly. Finding a job was difficult. Who would hire someone who would need time off soon? John insisted she stay home to care for the baby. He was supportive, helpful, and wanted another child soon after. She turned around to check on the girls. Where had the years gone? She gently patted Haley's knee and gave her a warm smile, making the familiar 3-finger gesture they always used their little inside joke. The 3 Musketeers, though when John was around, it sometimes felt more like the 3 Mouseketeers, quiet and careful. She smiled at the memory. Haley returned the smile and gave her hand a soft squeeze. They were a blessing, truly. John sat back, quietly enjoying the silence. It made him feel in control, just the way he liked it. Life felt good to him. After graduation, he had made sure Jamie depended on him completely. He had switched out her medication without her knowing, and manipulated the situation until she got pregnant. One pregnancy after another kept her at home, unable to work or continue her education. Almost 3 years out of college with no job history, she had nothing to fall back on. John had charmed both their families into supporting him, adding guilt to her burden so she would do whatever he wanted. But after their second child, Chris, she started to change. She wanted to find a job, make her own choices, and act like they were equals. To him, that was unacceptable. In John's mind, her role was to serve him and not cause any issues. But he blamed her for everything that went wrong, his job struggles, his team losing, even minor issues like the car needing an oil change. He convinced himself it was all her fault. This led to his anger growing, and he became more hostile. He began to lash out, not always physically but often emotionally, making sure to hide any signs of his aggression. Despite this, she began to stand up for herself. She questioned his absences and his so-called business trips. She even dared to defend herself when he tried to control her, so he came up with a new plan to ensure she stayed under his control. He manipulated her again, and when she got pregnant once more, he made sure it wouldn't last. He gave her a strong dose of medication, enough to cause a miscarriage. At first, he found it almost amusing, but when she suffered greatly, both physically and emotionally, he started to worry that he might have gone too far. Still, it worked in his favor. The emotional pain she went through was immense, and he used it to blame her for everything that went wrong. even the loss of their unborn child. He felt a twisted sense of satisfaction. His anger sometimes got the better of him, and he acted out violently, though this time things got more out of hand than he had planned. An accident had left her hurt, her head split and her arm broken. But to others, he played the grieving husband, sharing his sadness and frustration, making sure the blame never fell on him. For years, she stayed silent, and John felt like he had complete control. She became the perfect, quiet presence in the house, never questioning him. Life continued as it had before, and now he had Emily, who seemed almost like a mirror image of her mother. But even as everything seemed to fall in place for John, the weight of his choices was slowly creeping up, though he refused to see it. He thought women were often so easily fooled. Jamie remembered the loss of her baby. Even after many years, tears still filled her eyes. How did it happen? What went wrong? Deep down, she felt like a failure as a woman and in every other way. She had hoped for sympathy and understanding, but when she got home, John started yelling. She could recall the harsh words, but they didn't cut as deeply as the sadness she felt over losing her child. She believed she deserved this treatment. She felt like a failure as a wife and as a mother. She thought of herself as broken. It wasn't until he lost control and she got hurt that he finally stopped. Even he seemed shocked by what he had done. Things only got worse afterward. The anger turned into more outbursts. It began to feel like he took pleasure in being cruel. Jamie reached out to a divorce lawyer, but he pointed out that they lived in a place with no-fault laws, meaning John might get the children half the time. Jamie couldn't let that happen. She feared for what would happen to the kids if they were left with him. So she stayed, wanting to protect them. She carried her shame alone, sharing it with no one. Her parents loved John and blamed her for everything that went wrong. They said it was her fault for getting pregnant and losing the baby. His parents also accused her of ruining his life and forcing him to marry her. Jamie took it all without defending herself. She believed deep down that she was a loser. When he got angry, she silently took it. If he turned his frustration toward the children, she stepped in to redirect him, taking on their upset too. She never left them alone with him. It was hard, but she stayed positive and found joy in watching the girls grow up to be wonderful young ladies. Maybe, just maybe, this week would be different. After a long drive, they arrived at the ski resort, checked in, and unpacked. They had a quick lunch before heading out to ski. John gave clear instructions on the gear needed. When the staff tried to suggest better options for Jamie's boots and skis, his glare ended the conversation. The kids were enrolled in ski school for the afternoon. They weren't thrilled. The girls thought they were ready for more challenging runs, but Jamie believed they needed more practice. The adults made their way to the slopes. "Jamie, it's been a while since we skied. Why don't you take a few runs on the easier slope first while I take the one above?" John suggested. "No way. I'm ready to tackle something tougher. Let's go for the next level up." They took the chairlift to the top, and when Jamie looked down the slope, it seemed steeper than she remembered, making her second-guess her decision. But she declared, "And I'm off." John followed. At first, she felt rusty. The slope had icy patches and was worn from use. She knew she had to be careful, so she tried to focus on her technique, maybe too much. As she tried to relax and get comfortable, she was almost at the bottom of the slope when her ski caught and she fell forward. She reached out to grab her poles but landed hard. She felt a sharp pain in her forearm and knew something was wrong. As she tumbled down the hill, she could barely feel her skis come off. When she finally stopped, she clutched her arm, wincing in pain and worrying about how bad it might be. John rushed over, looking upset. "Jamie, I can't believe you. I told you to take it easy. Let's try the easy slope. But no, you wanted to go downhill. I'm sure it's okay. It's probably just a sprain. I'll ski down, get a bandage, and put some ice on it. A couple of pain relievers, and I'll be fine," she replied, trying to stay calm. "Look at your arm. It doesn't look right at all. We should just go home. Why won't you listen to me? How have I dealt with you like this for so long? Your mom is right. You really need to think. I know. I should have started on an easier slope, gone slower, or even rolled. I'm sorry. I just want to ski down and have someone check it." She noticed that everyone around had stopped and was staring. "But can you please lower your voice? The kids might hear you. You always do this. You make everything worse. Look at what you've done. You're making my life so difficult. I'm really sorry, John. I'll stay with the kids while they ski and you can still have fun. Let me get up. She tried to rise but couldn't because of the pain in her arm. I think I hurt my arm badly. This is the worst timing. I messed everything up. John grabbed her ski jacket and pulled her up. Get up, come on. Hold on, don't move yet. A man in a ski patrol uniform skied over. Hi, I'm Nate. Is this your first day skiing? She nodded. You looked a bit tense. You probably should have started lower. Let me check your arm. Where does it hurt? My left arm. I think it's broken. He lifted her sleeve to take a look. Yeah, it does seem that way. How about the rest of you? He looked at her with kind eyes. She found it hard to look away. It felt different. There was concern there, mixed with something else. She shook her head, trying to clear her thoughts. He examined her legs and back, and she could still feel where he touched her long after. It felt strange, like something out of a story or movie. Looking back at John, she saw no love, no care, just frustration, just anger and frustration. What was she thinking? She knew better than to expect anything different, and she understood that she was in for a rough time. Their nice week was turning into a tough one. Looks like just your arm is hurt. Let's get you on this sled to take you to the clinic. No, I can ski down myself. Sorry, miss. Jamie. Right, Jamie. I think you'll need to move a bit less for now. But first, let's get you on the sled. If you have another accident on the way down and hurt your arm again, it could be bad. Trust me, you'll enjoy the sled. He had John hold the handle and easily lifted her as if she weighed nothing. She was only 5'4", and the joke among her friends was that she was just a bit taller than that. But wow, she thought, not only was he handsome, but he was also really strong. She could still feel where his hand had touched her shoulder as he lifted her. She scolded herself. What is wrong with you, Jamie? She had so many layers of clothes on, but it was strange how she could still feel his touch. She had never felt anything like that before, and John was right there. Feelings of shame and guilt quickly replaced any excitement. All right, here we are at the clinic. I'll unbuckle you now, Jamie, and then we can get you inside. Sir, could you please take her skis and poles? Nope, I'm heading back up for another run. I'll see you in the room later. She knew she would have to face the consequences of ruining his week. He gave her an annoyed glance and skied away. That's your husband, right? The worker asked. She nodded. Nice guy. Anyway, let's get you into the clinic. You've cracked a bone in your forearm. The good news is you won't need surgery. The bad news is you'll need a cast for about a month, and no more skiing for now. I'm going to give you some medicine to help with the pain while I fix it, the clinic doctor explained. Is there someone here to help you to your room? She shook her head. No, it's fine. I'll manage. Just do what you need to do, really. She figured she could handle this and wanted to be alert when John returned. But miss, please just go ahead. He did what he needed to do. He seemed to feel her pain as he carefully put her arm back in place. She ended up with a splint, an x-ray, and then a long arm cast. She tested her arm. Oh, this will take some getting used to, but thank you, doctor. I appreciate your help. She felt frustrated with herself, but she knew that what she had just been through was minor compared to what was coming. Later in the afternoon, John and the kids came back to the room. Great job, Jamie. You've messed everything up. Again, let's just pack the car and go home. No way, John, please. I made a mistake and got hurt. I'll take the kids to the slope and watch them. They'll be okay. That way you can relax and get all your skiing in. I know how much you've been looking forward to this trip. We can't leave. It's good to be away. Please, she begged. We'll stay, but I'll ski with the kids, or better yet, I'll hire trainers for them, and that way I can keep skiing. You can do whatever you want, John said, his voice dripping with frustration. All she could think was, of course, John would play the victim again. She knew what he was thinking, that he couldn't believe he had put up with her for 12 years. He was already planning how he'd tell their parents she had ruined the vacation. He'd probably already sent out a message letting everyone know how hard he was working to be the perfect dad. An old country song came to mind. Everything you did was wrong. She wondered what punishment was waiting for her this time. Maybe he'd just yell. Maybe. She could only hope. That sounds great, John. I need a short nap. The medicine the doctor gave me for my arm has me feeling a bit groggy, she lied. Then we can head out for dinner. I'm so sorry, John. I've put everything on you. Yes, you did. Again, go ahead, take your nap. The kids and I will get dinner and bring you something. Thanks, honey. Later that evening, John turned to the kids. Okay, I don't want to hear a sound from you two. Watch TV or play on your tablets. No noise. You're in for the night. Do not come to our room. Understand? The kids looked at each other and nodded. They knew what that meant. Their mom was in trouble again. Jamie was resting when John came into their room. He tossed a styrofoam container of takeout food onto the desk. So how are you doing, Jamie? Without waiting for an answer, he added, We brought you some dinner. We took a little walk, so it might be a bit cold. Thanks. I'm sure it'll be fine, she said, even though she knew it wouldn't be. Could you help me with a shower and getting into pajamas? No, I have to make some calls. Okay, how are the kids? She asked. They had a great time, all excited for tomorrow. I figured they'd hit the slopes in the morning, then the tube ride after lunch. That should tire them out. I'll try to get some work done after. I thought you weren't going to work while we were here, she said quietly. It's just a little. Some of us have responsibilities and a job that needs attention, even on vacation, unlike others who just lay around watching TV. Jamie stood in the shower, careful to keep her arm dry, wrapping it in a plastic bag to protect the cast. She had been through enough broken bones with Haley and herself to know how to handle it. As she washed, she could hear John talking on the phone, laughing. Work, she thought. Suddenly, she felt John step into the shower behind her. He reached out and began washing her back. His touch was unexpected, and for a moment she softened. She had been bracing herself for anger, but instead, he was gentle. It was confusing. Despite the arguments, the coldness, and the way he treated her, there was a part of her that still cared. For better or worse, right? She wasn't sure anymore. She wondered if she deserved to be treated this way. After all, she often felt like a disappointment to John, her family, and herself. John's temper flared. He grabbed her roughly, pushing her towards him. In the shower, she felt overwhelmed, but she knew resisting wouldn't change anything. She endured it, waiting for the moment to pass. Afterward, she put on her pajamas while John lay on the bed, making another demand. She knew what was expected of her and did her best to finish quickly. She focused on getting through it, waiting for it to end. He became more forceful, and she had no choice but to follow his lead. Eventually, it was over. She felt sore and exhausted, knowing she would have bruises that would take time to heal. She quietly got up and tried to dry her cast, worried it might stay damp. It was going to be a long week, she thought. Once John had fallen asleep, she slipped out of the room and went to sleep with the kids, as she often did when things got rough. The next morning, she felt a little better after some rest. She dressed simply in comfortable clothes and joined the family for breakfast. She kissed John and the kids goodbye as they left for the slopes. I'll just sit here for a while, enjoy my coffee, and take in the view of the mountains, she told them with a soft smile. Maybe I'll go shopping, John said with a frown. She was sipping her drink and looking out the window, lost in thought when she realized she was staring at a man. She looked up and said, Hi, Jamie. How's your arm? I guess everyone is out skiing. Can I join you? He was already sitting down. Nate, you surprised me. Thanks for your help yesterday. Yes, it's broken, so no skiing for me. Sure, join me. Why aren't you out on the slopes? I have work in the evening for the rest of the week. I start at 4. They began talking. She found herself captivated by his eyes. She felt like a teenager with a crush and told herself to stop. She was already in trouble with John, if he saw her talking to Nate. The conversation flowed easily, and she was enjoying herself when her phone buzzed. It was a message with pictures of the kids skiing, saying, Last run for now. We'll meet you for lunch in 15. Be there, she replied. Nate, I really like talking with you. You're so interesting. Maybe we can chat again? A wave of guilt passed through her, but she couldn't help feeling drawn to him. She had never felt this way before. She realized she had invited him to talk again. What was she doing? She got up to join her family. The kids were excitedly talking about how much fun they were having. They had a great lunch, and there was not a single moment of disagreement. That made her uneasy. She felt like a child waiting for a parent to come home. After lunch, they went tubing. and John said they would be back by about 5. She took out her book to read, but mostly watched people instead. "Hi, you haven't made much progress. Should we continue our conversation?" She noticed she had been daydreaming about Nate. He took off his coat, showing a strong build. She caught herself looking at his arms and hands. A wave of embarrassment hit her for thinking too much about him, but the thoughts lingered. "Sure. You have to leave by 4, right?" He nodded, and they talked through the afternoon. When he got up to leave, he took her hand gently and placed his other hand on her shoulder. "Maybe I'll meet you here tomorrow to help the time go by. We can find something fun to do together." She stared at him and nodded, unsure how to reply. But she felt a warmth from his touch, and she chided herself. What was she doing? This might not end well. She needed to stop before things went too far. Yet, deep down, she knew she wouldn't. She would follow wherever he led, just like with John. After the kids went to bed, she cuddled next to John. She wore a new nightgown she had bought for the trip, but her thoughts were troubled. She noticed John's reaction, which made her feel a mix of emotions. She tried her best to focus as John leaned back, enjoying the moment. She went through the motions, doing what was expected of her, even though her mind was elsewhere. She knew it was easier to pretend than to resist. John responded in his usual way, and soon the routine was over. Next, it was supposed to be her turn, but she wasn't really engaged. John, however, continued, doing what he thought would please her. She faked enjoyment because that was what she had learned to do. She felt disconnected from the moment, her thoughts drifting to someone else entirely. It wasn't about John anymore, but rather a fantasy that gave her some comfort, even if it was fleeting. John didn't notice. He carried on, unaware that her mind was somewhere far away. It didn't last long, and soon everything was finished. He rolled away, done with what he had come for, leaving her lying there, still feeling unsatisfied and alone. She knew better than to expect more. It was always the same. "That was nice, John. Thanks," she said, putting on a smile. "Almost forgot my arm was broken," she added, trying to lighten the mood. "Why don't you go again?" he suggested, but she wasn't up for it. She made her excuses and moved away, knowing that her mind was already too far gone to come back to the present. It was always the same routine. She went through the motions, tried to get through it as quickly as possible, and pretended everything was fine. But deep down, she knew it wasn't. She often had daydreams when she was alone, imagining things that brought her some sense of escape. But whenever she tried to express these thoughts, his reaction was always dismissive. John liked being in control. He moved at his own pace, never caring about her needs or feelings. It wasn't always like this, but things had changed after Chris was born. Around the same time, the way he treated her became more distant, even hostile. After it was over, John rolled over and went to sleep without a word. No affection, no acknowledgement. She quietly got up and went to the bathroom to clean herself up, feeling empty. Sunday. "I've got the kids set up for a snowmobile ride today. We'll have lunch out there, so we won't be back until dinner," John told her. "One of the kids will be with me, and I arranged for one of the guides to take the other. Any chance you could do it with your cast?" "I don't think so," she replied. "The cast is too big and the trails are bumpy. I'll probably just browse the stores instead." In reality, she was hoping to see Nate again. She couldn't help but wonder if he might actually be interested in her. She wasn't as young as she used to be, but she still looked good for her age, she thought. Blonde hair, a decent figure after having 2 kids. But then she remembered the bruises and felt a pang of self-doubt. She took the elevator down to the lobby and sat with a cup of coffee, waiting. It wasn't long before Nate showed up. They picked up their conversation where they had left off, and after some time, he stood up and took her hand. "Let's go somewhere quieter, Jamie. You'll like it, and you know you will," he said softly. She felt conflicted, but followed him anyway, unsure of what to do. His eyes, his presence, they were too much for her to resist. She felt a mix of emotions: guilt, shame, and a deep desire for something she hadn't felt in a long time. They went to a room upstairs, and he opened the door for her. "Hey everyone! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of the exciting stories we have coming up. What do you think about the characters in this story? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. "Would you like something to drink?" he asked. "No, I'm fine," she whispered, her heart racing. He moved closer and they embraced. She felt a wave of nervousness wash over her, but couldn't deny the pull she felt toward him. His touch, his closeness, it all seemed so different from what she had at home. He kissed her softly at first, but as she responded, it became more intense. She realized how much she missed this feeling, passion, excitement, and the anticipation of something new. His hand gently rested on her shoulder, and when she didn't pull away, he grew bolder, moving his hand under her sweater. For a moment she hesitated, but then she let herself get lost in the moment, ignoring the pain and doubts that nagged at her mind. She nervously reached for his hand, feeling a mix of excitement and hesitation. Nate's presence was strong, and she couldn't deny the attraction that had been growing since she first saw him on the slopes. He noticed her hesitation and said softly, "Let's get comfortable." She followed his lead, feeling shy at first, but his reassuring words gave her confidence. "You look amazing," he said, though his eyes lingered on the bruises. "I must have fallen earlier," she lied, brushing it off. Nate smiled and continued undressing. She was taken aback by how fit he was, like someone straight out of an action movie. He gently took her hand and guided it toward him, encouraging her to relax. They kissed again, and her nerves started to fade. His touch moved from her neck to her shoulders and then lower as the intensity of the moment grew. She felt a rush of emotions, guilt, excitement, and a strange sense of liberation. She had never imagined herself in this situation, but something about it felt unstoppable. Her thoughts drifted to John briefly, but it wasn't love driving her actions now. This was pure, raw desire, something she hadn't felt in a long time. It was unfamiliar but undeniable. As things progressed, the moment became all-consuming. She felt a surge of emotions, excitement mixed with disbelief at what was happening. She was swept away by the intensity of it all, feeling like she was living out a fantasy. It felt thrilling, even though she knew she was crossing a line she could never uncross. Everything about Nate, his strength, his confidence, made her feel like she was in a storybook romance. She let herself get lost in the fantasy for just a little while longer, imagining a world where she didn't have to worry about consequences or reality. For now, she was just someone enjoying a brief escape, forgetting everything else. As she lay there afterward, the fantasy lingered in her mind. For a moment, she let herself believe that this could be something more, even though deep down she knew it couldn't last. She smiled to herself, caught between the dream and reality, wishing the holiday wouldn't end so soon. It didn't take long for her to feel a rush of emotions as her body responded, each moment building on the last. She had hoped for a quiet moment afterward, to just lay there together, but that wasn't what Nate had in mind. "That was great, Jamie. Now, how about helping me out?" he said casually. She didn't even think before she complied, though she had wished for something more, something gentler. She tried to position herself differently, hoping for a more mutual experience. But Nate stopped her. "No, Jamie, I don't do that," he said, much to her disappointment. He then adjusted her position again, this time more assertively, and she followed along. He continued, but something inside her started to feel uneasy. Still, she went along with the moment, trying to push aside her discomfort. After a while, as things progressed, the lines between excitement and discomfort blurred for her. When Nate became more insistent, pushing boundaries she wasn't comfortable with, she finally spoke up. "Nate, I've never done that. Please stop," she said, pulling away. He hesitated for a moment before respecting her request and continuing in a way that felt less intense. Eventually, the moment passed, and she felt a wave of exhaustion wash over her. The adrenaline and excitement faded, leaving her with a sense of guilt and confusion. "I need to go," she said softly, feeling the weight of reality settle in. "That was something, but I really need to go now." Nate seemed to understand. "That's fine, Jamie. Everything's okay, right? No one needs to know," he reassured her. She nodded, but the guilt was already building up inside. What had she done? She needed to leave, to think, and to figure out what this all meant. What happens at the resort stays at the resort. "Right, but we can't do it again. I just can't. I'm sorry, Nate, but thank you." It was nice. But it wasn't anything special, really. He was just like a few others she had met. He seemed to only care about himself. Were all men like that? Or was she just choosing the wrong ones? If all men were like that, she thought she might stay single. Well, single unless something happened with John. But how had she let this happen? A guy she barely knew took her hand and asked her to go with him, and she did. Why did she just go along with it? Why had she given him that kind of control? What was wrong with her? She knew one thing for sure. No one was going to have that kind of power over her again. Ever. Except for John, until Chris went off to college. A tear started to form in her eye. It felt like she would never forgive herself for what she had done. It was a sign that John and her family were right. She felt she was becoming one of those people, someone who had betrayed trust. Another failure to add to her list. She was better than that, wasn't she? How had she lost her way so easily? She left. It was already early afternoon. She checked her phone and turned it back on. Pictures of her kids smiling back at her. They were the three things she cared about most in her life. And here she was, feeling ashamed on her way back to their hotel room. There were texts and a few missed calls from John. "Are you okay? Your phone went straight to voicemail. Why is your phone off? We'll be home by 5 and we'll go to dinner." A wave of fear washed over her. Had she messed things up? John was clearly upset, and that was never a good sign. She texted back, "My phone was dead and I left it in my room when I went shopping. Looks like you all were having a great time. Wish I was there. See you when you get back." She jumped in the shower, trying to calm down, but it didn't work. The weight of what she'd just done clouded her mind. She was sure she looked guilty, that John would somehow know. She had no idea what would happen if he found out, but how had she let this man have so much control, a man she hardly knew? John had a special place in her heart because of their history together, but now, he would have even more power because of her actions. The guilt and shame made her feel weak. It took away her resolve. She tried to rinse it all away, even washing her hair. She knew it would likely be messy without any products to tame it, but she couldn't risk anything lingering in it. When they got home, the girls were so excited. She felt almost as excited as before at the start of their trip. They had a chance to drive the snowmobiles and made plenty of stories to share. John reminded her to be careful while driving. Jamie felt sad for missing out on the fun with them. John noticed her feelings. "Are you okay?" he asked. She couldn't look at him. His gaze made her feel guilty, as if she needed to confess something. She thought about how it felt like a big neon sign of guilt was right above her. "Yes, I'm fine. I'm just sorry I missed everything. I went into town for a little shopping, but my arm was pretty sore afterward," she replied. "Why don't we do something together tomorrow?" he suggested. "No, you and the kids should make the most of your time. What are your plans for tomorrow?" The girls chimed in. "We're going skiing in the morning and ice skating later. Why don't you watch us?" "Sure, I can do that. Watching sounds fun," she said. That night, after the kids were asleep, John tried to be romantic. He touched her, but she felt groggy from the pain pills she had taken. She sensed his unease and felt a wave of fear. She knew there was no way he could tell something was wrong, but it felt like everyone could see her secret. "John, I can't. I'm really tired and my arm hurts. I'll probably sleep through the night. I'm sorry for spoiling our plans." He looked at her, his mood shifting. "No problem. I understand. I should have seen this coming, but you know the rules?" Yes, she remembered. At least she could follow along in some way. John had noticed something was off. Jamie always had her phone and never let it die. What if something happened to the kids while she was out? He remembered her guilty looks and how she hadn't looked him in the eye. She spent the day shopping but didn't come back with anything. That didn't seem like her at all. He never imagined Jamie could ever stray from him. She was too fragile for that kind of thing and didn't have the strength. He always expected her to follow his instructions. She was aware of what could happen if he suspected anything was wrong. She knew better than to cross him, or so he thought. Maybe he was mistaken, but he was determined to find out, even if it meant being harsh. She needed to face consequences for making him doubt her. This could even be an opportunity for some excitement. He started by checking her phone. He wanted to be sure there were no calls or messages he should worry about. She might have deleted them. He activated the phone tracker and made sure it showed up on his device. He searched the 2 rooms quietly. There was nothing unusual. She hadn't ordered anything. He rummaged through the trash. In the kitchen bin, he found a tied-up bag. It annoyed him that he had to dig through the waste to reach it, hidden among some food containers. When he opened it, a wave of anger washed over him. After everything he had done for her, this was how she repaid him? It was infuriating. He thought of waking her up and starting her punishment right away, but he wanted to take his time with this. He needed more information. He took a swig of strong alcohol. Who was involved? It had to be the guy from the ski shop. He rushed downstairs to check the car. There hadn't been any new mileage since they arrived. She had lied about her trip into town, so she must have seen him here. Did she really think she could get away with this? He began to plan her punishment. Maybe he should confront her now, but she looked too drowsy to make it interesting. Tomorrow he would make her face the music. He was eager for it. And then he would end their marriage. After all, he had someone else in mind. He thought about changing some of her medicine to ensure things went his way. It was a restless night, filled with thoughts of revenge. "John, you look terrible. What's happening?" "Oh, I just had a rough night. Something I ate didn't sit well with me." "Why don't you take a break from the kids? They would understand." "No, it's fine. I don't want to mess up their vacation like someone else tried to do." Her face flushed with guilt and shame. "We'll see you at noon and then head to the rink." He gave her a quick kiss on the cheek, not wanting her to be suspicious. Ironically, that kiss made her worry that something was wrong. He never kissed her goodbye. Instead of skiing with the kids, he dropped them off with an instructor who promised to teach them new skills. The kids were excited. He returned to the hotel, found a quiet spot, and kept an eye on the location of Jamie's phone and the lobby. She never left the room. In a way, that made him even angrier. He had wasted the entire morning looking forward to catching her in the act. At noon, John gathered the girls and met up with Jamie for lunch. Afterward, they all headed to the skating rink. Jamie was quiet, but she seemed to enjoy being outside and watching the girls. Eventually, she laced up a pair of skates and joined them on the ice, moving carefully at first, but soon relaxing and laughing with them. The three of them were having a great time together, but John couldn't stand it. How could she be enjoying herself after everything? He expected her to be apologizing, begging for forgiveness. As he watched them, his frustration grew. He held on to his anger, waiting for the moment to make her pay. Later that evening, after dinner, the kids went to bed. Jamie turned to him and said, "Come on, John, let's go to bed." He was caught off guard. "I don't know, Jamie, I'm pretty tired. Maybe we should take a rain check," he said, suspicious of her sudden interest. "John, I need you. I feel like we've been distant during this trip, and I don't want that. I know I messed up, and I'm sorry. I just want to feel close to you," she said softly. What could he say to that? Reluctantly, he agreed, and they went to bed. They hugged, kissed, and for a moment, things felt almost normal. But John wasn't in the mood for reconciliation. His frustration took over, and in that moment, all he could think about was control. He wasn't interested in closeness, only in asserting his dominance. As the night wore on, his anger simmered beneath the surface. He held on to it, letting it fuel his sense of power. Jamie remained quiet and compliant, unaware of the storm brewing in his mind. John had regained his control, but it didn't bring him the satisfaction he thought it would. In the end, he stayed by her side, but his mind was still clouded with anger and resentment. He felt in control again, but at the same time, a part of him knew that something had changed. The distance between them had grown deeper, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake the feeling that things would never be the same again. John's frustration had built up over the course of the evening, and it showed in his rough behavior. With Jamie on all fours, he became forceful, his actions harsh and unkind. She winced, but remained silent, doing her best to get through the moment. He moved quickly, with no care for her comfort, and she could feel the tension between them grow even stronger. As he continued, it was clear he wasn't holding back, and his intensity only increased. Jamie tried to keep up, but there was no gentleness in his actions tonight. She offered to try something different, hoping to ease the situation, but it only seemed to frustrate him more. Her willingness was met with indifference as he continued to push boundaries, not giving her a chance to prepare. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she stayed quiet, enduring his rough treatment. He didn't notice, or perhaps didn't care, as he continued without pause, his mind focused solely on his own satisfaction. When it was over, Jamie wiped her eyes with the sheet, trying to understand what had just happened. "Is everything okay, John?" she asked softly, sensing something was different. "I guess I got carried away," he replied, brushing off her concern. He remained distant, lost in his own world, as she quietly dealt with the aftermath. It was a night that neither of them would forget, but for very different reasons. Jamie felt a deep sense of confusion and sadness, unsure of where things had gone so wrong. John, on the other hand, seemed content to let things be, showing no sign of regret for his actions. "I'm feeling a bit tired, but I'm okay," John replied with a slight smile. Jamie looked at him, wondering why he had been acting so strangely lately. It was as if something was bothering him, but she brushed it off for now. They had both been enjoying their vacation, and she wanted to focus on making the most of the time they had together. "Tomorrow will be fun," Jamie said, trying to lighten the mood. "Skiing all day sounds great. Just remember to take breaks, okay?" "We will, Mom," the girls promised, excitement shining in their eyes. "All right then. Let's all get some rest now so we can be ready for the day ahead," Jamie said. Once the kids were settled in for the night, Jamie took a moment to gather her thoughts. She felt a mix of emotions, guilt, confusion, and a deep need for connection. Meanwhile, John was outside making a call to a friend about a serious matter. He was trying to find a lawyer, even though it hurt him to think about it. The friend was shocked to hear about the situation, but John knew he had to take action. He didn't want to wait any longer. He needed to sort things out after the holidays. The next day was filled with laughter, skiing, and family bonding, which brought Jamie a sense of joy. But deep inside, she still felt uneasy about the changes happening between her and John. They all enjoyed the afternoon together, but as night fell, she knew that they needed to talk about what had happened between them. "Tomorrow is another big day," she said as they wound down. "Let's make sure we stick together and enjoy every moment." The girls nodded, their faces showing anticipation for the day ahead. But Jamie couldn't shake off the feeling that something important would need to be addressed soon. At dinner, Jamie noticed the quiet tension in the air. "You're awfully quiet," she said to John. "Everything's fine," John replied. "It's been a great vacation so far. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. We got fresh snow last night, so I thought the kids could have another lesson in the morning. Their instructor can take them for the afternoon. Why don't I take the kids to their lesson and watch them on the slopes?" Jamie suggested. "I'll pack lunch and snacks so you don't have to stop. You could spend your time on the upper slopes and really enjoy yourself. It's your last chance to make the most of this trip. What do you think?" John stared at her for a moment before responding. "Sure, Jamie. Sounds great. And then the day after we'll have the long drive home," Jamie continued. "It'll be the 23rd, just a day before Christmas Eve." "It's my birthday," Haley piped up excitedly. "We get to celebrate, and I get presents, right, Mom? And an ice cream cake. I can't wait." "You're exactly right, Haley," Jamie smiled. "We'll celebrate. But with the drive and everything, some of the celebrating might have to wait until Christmas Eve, okay?" Jamie's mind, though, was elsewhere. Her thoughts were distracted. "What's wrong, Mom?" Haley asked, sensing the change. "Oh, nothing, sweetheart," Jamie reassured her. "I've just been thinking about how much fun you've all had this week. I've really missed being part of that. So tomorrow you all have to make the most of it, okay?" That evening, they spent some time together as a family. John stepped out for a while, supposedly for work. Jamie found it odd that he was making business calls at 8 o'clock, especially since he seemed to be laughing more than discussing anything serious. Later, when they were in bed, Jamie took a shower and tried to rekindle some connection. "Come on, John," she said playfully. "Let's enjoy ourselves tonight. I bet you'll be too tired tomorrow." She tried to draw him in with gentle touches and a kiss, but his response lacked the energy she had hoped for. Determined, she continued, hoping to bridge the distance between them. But as things progressed, John became more detached, his actions rougher than she expected. Eventually, John got out of bed, surprising her. "What are you doing?" she asked, confused. He shifted her position without explanation, and what followed felt uncomfortable and unsettling. Jamie tried to keep up, but it was clear that something had changed between them. Despite her discomfort, she stayed silent, unsure of how to react. In the end, John seemed satisfied, but Jamie was left feeling more distant than ever. She couldn't shake the feeling that things were not right, but she didn't know how to fix it. John pulled her closer, but his thoughts were elsewhere. As they lay there, he felt a surge of control, thinking about the future and what would come next. He imagined dragging things out, making her plead and beg, before finally going through with the divorce. He could picture their families siding with him, blaming her for everything. It was all part of his plan, but for now, he decided to let it play out. The next morning, John left early without a word. Jamie handled the morning routine with the kids, getting them ready and suggesting they try snowboarding instead of skiing. The kids loved the idea, and after a morning lesson, they spent the afternoon enjoying the new activity. Jamie took lots of pictures, capturing their smiles, and for a brief moment, it felt like things were normal. John returned later, tired from a full day on the slopes. They all turned in early, and to her relief, John wasn't interested in any tension that night. The day had worn him out. Jamie tried to find peace in the quiet, but sleep didn't come easily. She lay awake, her mind racing with thoughts of the future. What would it be like from here on? Could she endure this until the kids left for college? The growing resentment inside her was hard to ignore. The next day, the kids wanted to snowboard a little longer before they left. Jamie stood beside John, holding his hand as they watched the girls on the slopes. It was a rare moment of calm. They had lunch together, packed up, and got ready to head home. "So was that the greatest Christmas vacation ever?" Jamie asked, smiling at her kids. "You bet, Mom. It wasn't just the best Christmas vacation, it was the best vacation ever," Haley replied. "We're sorry you couldn't have as much fun with your arm, but maybe next time when it's better we can come back." "We'll see. Maybe we can do it again if we can find time," Jamie said, hoping to keep things light. John remained quiet on the drive home. Jamie glanced over. "You're very quiet, John. Are you okay?" "Yeah, everything's fine. I'm just tired. The kids wore me out, and I think I might still be feeling a little under the weather." "Do you want me to drive?" she offered. John shook his head. "No, I've got it." The rest of the drive was filled with silence. The kids wore their headphones, and there were no stops along the way. John smiled to himself. He was already planning his next move. Everything seemed calm now, but he knew what was coming. He'd keep things smooth until Christmas Day. Then he'd make sure Jamie felt the full weight of his anger. For now, he'd play along. But once the holiday was over, things would change. "Oh, what a fun time," as that old book from high school said. He thought maybe he should never have married her. Maybe he shouldn't have changed her medicine and caused her to become pregnant. But she had always taken good care of him. She was so unaware of what he did outside their marriage. He was planning to end things with her and move on with Emily. After all, she was just as clueless, and he needed someone to look after him. They walked into the house, their house, the place filled with love and memories. The tree was drying out and needles were falling off. Some ornaments had dropped. She hoped that wasn't a bad sign. John had been acting strangely. The way he was behaving he couldn't possibly know. Could he? Everyone was so tired that they decided to celebrate her birthday the next day, Christmas Eve. They enjoyed her special day with burgers at her favorite restaurant, presents, and cake. Jamie always disliked having her birthday so close to Christmas, and she worked hard to keep the two celebrations separate. It wouldn't be fair to mix them. Christmas Eve brought excitement for the girls. They had frozen pizza, set out cookies and milk for Santa, and sprinkled reindeer food on the front walk. Although the girls no longer really believed, it was still a fun tradition. They also opened a present and listened to a story. John was feeling tired, so he relaxed while Jen prepared the gifts, did the final touches, and cleaned up to get ready for the big gathering the next day. Both adults were exhausted and went straight to bed. John felt unwell, and Jamie ate most of a cookie and drank half the milk before sweeping the reindeer food off the walk. Tomorrow was the big day. The kids woke up at dawn and eagerly dived into their stockings, starting on candy to give them energy, then moving on to the presents. Wrapping paper and ribbons were everywhere. It looked as if a whirlwind had blown through. John went into the study and turned on the TV. Jamie began cleaning up while making breakfast. The girls took a break for some real food. Jamie's parents arrived. They criticized her for not following John's advice, for getting hurt, and for leaving all the work to him. He received praise for being such a patient husband and a wonderful father. Gifts were handed out, and she received a gift card. Next, his sister arrived with more gifts. Jamie's sister Kelly came with her children. There were presents everywhere. The women started working on the meal, while the men took the kids outside to play for a while. It turned into a lovely family feast with many stories and laughter. There was love, joy, chaos, and confusion. It was wonderful. Occasionally, Jamie felt overwhelmed by guilt and a sense of worry, but she also felt anger and growing resentment. Everyone thought John was the perfect husband and father. She felt grateful to have John in her life, even though others might not understand. Her sister pulled her aside and took her into the bedroom. "Jamie, what's going on? You look like you're really worried and John seems so happy. Please talk to me." I can't, Kel." Tears began to form in her eyes. "I've done something terrible, something I can't fix. I don't know how or why it happened, but I feel so ashamed. Mom's right. I'm a failure. As a person, a wife, I feel like I've let myself down." "Jamie, stop! Mom is wrong. I don't get why she treats you so badly. She's always been unfair to you. You've always been the good one. Mel and I were the troublemakers. I've asked Mom why, but she never tells me. Maybe she thinks you're too responsible since you're the oldest. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're kind, smart, generous, and beautiful. You are a great person, a wonderful friend, and an amazing mom to our two lovely daughters. You raised them all on your own." Kelly hugged her tightly, tears also flowing. "I know John can be difficult. I've seen him act one way with the kids, then switch to being nice around adults. I've seen him do the same with you when he gets home. There's no way you keep getting hurt by accident unless something is wrong that we don't know about. You've never asked for help. You've always done everything yourself. You don't have to be that way. I don't care what has happened. You don't need to face this alone. I love you, and Mel loves you too. Let us help you carry this weight. Please, Jamie, let me in. We can face whatever comes together." "Thank you, Kelly," Jamie cried as she held her sister close. "You and Mel have always been there for me, and I appreciate it more than you know. But I need to figure this out myself. I think big changes are coming, but I don't know what they will be, and it makes me nervous. I might need your support, though. I'll always be here for you. Just know that. And please be careful. You can talk to me whenever you want, but I really think he's not treating you right. Call me any time." By 7, everyone had left. The girls were tired and were getting ready for a shower before bed. Jamie wanted to relax, but John wanted her to tidy up while he had another drink. "Can we take care of the rest later?" she finally said. "Let's go upstairs and you can give me a special Christmas present," John said with a grin. "I need a few minutes to sit and gather my thoughts," Jamie replied, trying to stall. "I'll grab some tea and join you," he said, not giving up. Later, as they sat together, Jamie tried to break the tension. "John, thank you. This has been the best Christmas, and even with my broken arm, it's been the best vacation we've ever had, except for our honeymoon, of course." John's response was sharp. "Well, if you remember, you messed that up too. You had morning sickness the whole time." Jamie looked down, feeling shame wash over her. "I know, but this vacation felt special. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you earlier in the trip. I'll make it up to you, I promise." She noticed something shift in his expression, a strange combination of anger and something more unsettling. Suddenly, fear crept into her. She knew what that look meant. "Yes, it was great," John said coldly. "The kids had an amazing time, a time they'll always remember. Unfortunately, it's probably the last time we'll have something like this." "What do you mean?" Jamie asked, her heart sinking. "I have an appointment with an attorney next week," John said flatly. "An attorney? For what? What kind of attorney?" Jamie's voice trembled. "A divorce attorney," John replied, the words hitting her like a blow. "A divorce attorney?" Jamie's mind raced. "Why? I don't want a divorce. We've been happy, haven't we? We have so much together, John. I love you. Why are you doing this?" John didn't mince words. "Stop pretending, Jamie. I was going to leave on Sunday night, but I thought that wouldn't be fair to the kids." "Sunday? What are you talking about?" Jamie asked, panic rising. Without a word, John threw a pair of panties onto the table. Jamie's stomach dropped. How could she have been so careless? "What are those?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Don't play dumb, Jamie. Those are your panties from your little meeting with Nate. I could smell it from across the room. John's voice dripped with disgust. Her world crumbled in an instant. She sat frozen, unable to process the situation. Then suddenly, the first hit came. She didn't see it coming. The blow knocked her to the floor. "John, please, I'm sorry!" Jamie cried, her face stinging. "I don't know why I did it. It was a mistake, I swear. I've never done anything like that before, and I'll never do it again. Please, we can work through this. I love you so much. Can't we find a way?" John wasn't listening. He grabbed her shirt, yanked her up, and slapped her again, throwing her back down with force. "You talk about feeling empty?" John spat. "That's how I've felt all week. I leave the house and you run to Nate. After everything I've done for you, this is what you do to me? You make my life miserable, and now this? How dare you?" "John, please," Jamie pleaded, tears streaming down her face. "The kids will hear us. Please don't scare them." "I don't care about the kids," John yelled, his anger boiling over. "I'm not sure why you got pregnant and made me marry you, and then you convinced me to have a second child. John, please don't scare them. I don't know how it happened. I was using birth control. You wanted the second baby, right? I'm really sorry. And even my sister noticed you were not yourself. What were you thinking about? Is it him?" He kicked her. "You let another man touch you? You belong to me. Now all I can think about is him around you. I can't handle that. How could you betray me? How could you break our vows? No, Jamie, I shouldn't have married you. I should have left you and the child alone. But I felt bad for you. Honestly, the child might not even be mine." He pulled her up and hit her again. Suddenly she thought of bears. If a bear comes close, they say to curl up and play dead. She almost laughed. This time the bear would get her, no matter the position. He hit her in the stomach and pushed her against the couch. She fell onto the floor. He came over and hit her again. "You hurt my hand!" He picked her up and hit her once more. "Just give me a minute. I'm moving your things to Haley's room. I can't stand to see you or touch you anymore. It makes me sick. We'll tell the kids tomorrow. I'll explain what a terrible mother you are. I'll stay here until I talk to the lawyer. Then I'll probably leave." "Wow, Jamie. This was the worst Christmas vacation. I'm finally free. It's time to move on. You've messed up my life long enough. Maybe this was the worst vacation ever. But what could she do now?" Her head spun, and blood trickled from her lip. She didn't know what he planned, but it surely would be dramatic. Everyone in town would find out about her supposed infidelity on their Christmas vacation. Was that laughter she heard upstairs? Oh no, she could hear John talking on the phone with someone. And from his tone, it was clearly a woman. As she looked at her injuries in the mirror, she thought it was time to curl up and cry. She had a lot of tears. An ice pack would help too. They say the morning brings clarity. For Jamie, it came in the middle of the night. How had she let herself get trapped in this situation? She didn't deserve it. She wasn't a failure. She had just allowed John to treat her poorly for 12 years. Why had she been so weak and passive? He was right. They should never have married. Enough. It ends now. She was going to take charge of what happened next, take charge of her life. So she went to work. She opened a new online account with half of her savings. She also applied for her own credit card. Next, she checked his computer and found a lot of calls to a certain number, going on for over a year, even during their vacation. She needed to call that number before she talked to John. Then she discovered a secret account where he was spending nearly as much as he claimed to be earning. She made an appointment with a divorce lawyer that her friend Greta had recommended. She thought this time of year might be quiet for the attorney, so it was a good opportunity to be seen. "Good morning, girls. I made waffles and bacon for breakfast today. How does that sound? After that, you can play with all your new toys," she said, looking at her daughters. They could tell something was wrong, but they wisely stayed quiet about it. "Good morning, John. I made some coffee for you. Feel free to help yourself to the waffles. I need to run some errands for a couple of hours, and then we can talk," she said with a tone that suggested she was ready to move on. Okay," John replied, confused. He expected her to be upset, but she seemed calm, though her face was puffy. He felt something was off and thought about tracking her phone. "I'll be back soon. After I return, your dad and I will talk, and then we can all have fun. Remember, we have New Year's Eve coming up, and you two are getting old enough to stay up until midnight, right?" she said with a bright smile. "Yeah!" they cheered, surprised at her upbeat demeanor. As she walked out the door, she felt a sense of determination. Her first stop was the phone store. "Hi, I need a new phone. Someone might be tracking me," she explained. "We can turn off the tracking features, but that would make some apps unusable, right?" The clerk said. "Yes, and it could be more complicated than that. I need a new phone and a new plan, in my name. Can you transfer my photos and contacts too, but keep other data away?" she requested. With the new phone acquired, she made her first call to the number John frequently contacted. "Hello, is John Logan there?" she asked. "No, he's away on a business trip. Who's calling?" the voice replied. "Actually, he's skiing with his wife and kids. This is his wife, Jamie." "What? But he's not married. I would never date someone who is. You're lying," the caller exclaimed. "No, I'm not lying," she said firmly, ready to uncover the truth. "We've been married for over 12 years and have kids aged 10 and 12. But that's all right. Right now, I'm heading to the divorce lawyer. Let me send you some photos and I'll call you back. By the way, who are you? I only have your number. He calls you a lot." "I'm Emily. Emily James." Emily glanced at the photos, including ones from Christmas. "Oh no, Jamie, the pictures. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to be the other woman. If I had known he was married. I guess that explains why his schedule is always so crazy. Why I never met any of his family. Did I cause the divorce? I would feel terrible if I did. I can't believe. All this time. About 1.5 years and we look so similar. Let me send you some pictures too." "Wow. We really do look alike. It's kind of strange. No, you didn't cause it. We just lost our connection over time. Maybe we never had a real love. Maybe it was just the next step in our relationship. Anyway, it's clear he's not happy. Not with me, or the kids, and maybe with someone else in his life. Maybe there was always someone else, and that's been the problem. Jamie, I'm really sorry." "It's not your fault, Emily. Anyway, I'll let you two sort this out. We're getting divorced, so he's free if you want him. He told me yesterday he planned on divorcing me." "He told you on Christmas?" "Yes, but there are reasons for that. Emily, I'll be talking to him in a couple of hours to discuss our next steps. Can you wait to call him until after that?" "Sure, but I really care about him. I don't know what to do." She sounded upset on the phone. "Emily, maybe he cares about you too. He hasn't been happy with me for a while. Maybe he never really was. I don't know." "Jamie, I'm so sorry. If I had known or even suspected, I would never—" "It's all right, Emily, really. It's not your fault. He never seemed excited about me. Looking back, well, never mind. He didn't show much passion, only his own feelings. Anyway, it sounds like you both have a lot to talk about. Good luck." "You too, Jamie. I really don't know what to do next. If I can help at all, just call me. I've known him for a long time. So, Amber, I'd like the house and the kids. I don't care much about child support or alimony. I think I can find a decent job. A few friends from the PTA and sports have an accounting firm and want me to come work with them. But I think he'll want to make things difficult to get back at me for the affair. You know how it is. What do you think?" "Well, this is a no-fault, 50/50th state, so at worst you'll share the kid's time and may have to buy him out of the house or sell it. He will have to pay alimony for at least 1 year and child support until the kids are 18. Looking at your face makes me want to take a lot of photos. I guess you want to have the kids most of the time, right? Why didn't you ever call the police on him? He can be very charming. He would turn on that charm and people would believe I was the problem, not him." I laughed. "Plus, I have my own challenges." "Oh, I see. So since he was unfaithful too, maybe you can use the money he owes you as leverage to get what you want. If he resists, we could take it to court. We would show the pictures and let the judge decide. Usually the judge sends it to mediation first, and you would have to attend counseling, but considering your situation, do you have other marks?" "Quite a few." "That's not ideal, but if he slips up, we can show them in court, and it will be part of the public record. I doubt he would want that. So here are some ideas." "Hi, kids! I'm home. Hey, I spoke to Mrs. Friedman. Why don't you go upstairs, gather some things, and head to her house to see what toys they got for Christmas? I heard they got some really fun things. Put on your coats. She mentioned she has some cookies left over that she wants you to try. Now, hurry up and have fun." "John, first, I want to say I'm sorry for what happened during our vacation. It should never have." "Just stop, Jamie. Save your excuses. You cheated on me. I'm getting a divorce." "No, John, you don't understand. I regret what I did, but I want the divorce. I don't love you anymore, and I think you feel the same. So we should focus on the kids and the house. Well, since you cheated, you must be a bad mother, so I'll take the house and the kids. You'll get nothing. I can see you're upset, John. I smiled inside as he began to turn red. Again, I'm sorry for what I did. We should have ended things properly first, but it happened. This state allows for a fair split, so we can either share the kids, sell the house, and divide the money, or you'll have to provide me with some support. What? No way. Yes way. Now please calm down. The kids and neighbors shouldn't hear us fight. You're meeting your lawyer next week. I've already talked to mine and she's starting the paperwork. What? You can't do that. I can and I did. She will file it in a few days and you'll be notified. But here's what I suggest. Let me keep the house and the kids. I take care of them most of the time anyway. You can have them every other weekend and we can share the holidays. No, absolutely not. You broke our promises. I'm taking the kids. To get back at me, I understand, but they are part of this situation. I'm willing to give you the girls and the house. In exchange, I won't ask for any financial support. Are you serious? Before you reject this, John, I want to mention that I spoke with Emily and I'm reaching out to others from the past. His eyes widened and his mouth opened as if he wanted to speak. This means they could provide information for court. And just think, that information might get shared with your family and our friends, and it could end up in some public places, along with pictures of me that I'd rather keep private. Calm down, John. You don't want to be that worked up. He moved closer and pushed her down, grabbing her shirt tightly. He was trying to scare her. You will regret this. I'll make sure you remember it. No, not again! In a calm but strong voice, she said, Go ahead, John. If you want to teach me a lesson, that's fine. I've been recording this, and after I defend myself, I'll call the police, and you'll face serious consequences. So this is your only warning. Let me go. Now. He let her go and stepped back, unsure of himself since she'd never stood up to him like this before. Why don't you take a moment to think? It's best to talk to your lawyer. You know you don't really want to be the main caregiver for the girls. They might seem easy now, but when they grow older, the changes that come with growing up can be challenging for everyone involved. And if it came to light that maybe you aren't the perfect father after all, think about how that would change things. Maybe we should focus on making this change as easy as we can for the girls. They deserve that. They actually enjoy themselves more when you're not around, but I'll guide them to show they're sad about the situation. We can rearrange their rooms, and I can stay in Haley's room. We don't have to act like we're close, but we should at least respect each other. Talk to your lawyer about everything, not just the parts you want to share later. We'll plan our next steps after that. And don't forget, Emily is waiting for your call. You both have much to discuss. She wasn't too happy to find out that you were married with kids and that she looked a bit like my sister. Jamie went to the kitchen to get some coffee and then checked on the kids next door. As she turned to leave, Haley followed her out. Mommy, are you okay? Your face is all red. That's 2 days in a row. Can't you make Daddy stop? No, everything is fine, Haley. I think things will get even better soon. It's just adult stuff. Go have fun. I might need to stay in your room for a few days. Is that all right? Sure, Mom. No problem. But next week, the 4 of us need to sit down and have a chat. Well, it may be just a girls' meeting since I know your dad. Just us 3. Jamie knew a lot was about to change, but she felt hopeful, as if a heavy weight had lifted off her shoulders. She was ready for what came next. 4 years later. Mom, Chris and I are going to ride our bikes over to Emily's to see the new baby, okay? Sure, but the baby isn't that new anymore. She's almost 2. Jamie found it interesting that they still called it Emily's house and not their dad's. Kind of revealing. Say hi to her for me. You wouldn't want to drive us there, would you? Remember, in a few months I'll be 16 and can drive myself. I know you're going to miss it. That would be a no. I'll just have to handle the sadness of not driving you 2 everywhere. Is your father going to be there? No, he's on another trip or something. Jamie hoped he wasn't falling back into his old habits. Emily was nice, and they all liked her very much. A little later. Mom! Mom! Mr. Grisham's house is on fire. There's smoke everywhere. Haley, You call 911 and I'll run over to see if he's okay. He wasn't outside, was he? No, I didn't see him. You can go there, but do not go inside, understand? Jamie ran to Mr. Grisham's house. Smoke poured out of the windows and door. His car was in the driveway. Mr. Grisham! Lloyd! No answer. She checked the back. He wasn't there either. She assumed he must still be inside. She knew she shouldn't rush into a burning building and should wait for help, but she couldn't just stand by. She took a deep breath and went into the smoky house. She checked the living room. No one was there. She ran past the bathroom, but then backed up, soaked her shirt in the bathroom sink, and held it to her mouth. Her heart raced in her chest. She figured she could hold her breath for 30 seconds, but it felt like only 10 before she had to breathe again. Then she started to breathe heavily. The wet shirt couldn't protect her from the smoke that stung her throat and lungs. Her eyes were watering, making it hard to see. She kept coughing. The smoke seemed to be coming from the kitchen. Keeping low, she hurried to the kitchen. The smoke was thick, but she could see flames licking at the cabinets, walls, and ceiling. It felt unbearably hot. She recalled a story about a witch who melted. It felt crazy, like a nightmare. Through the smoke and her watery eyes, she tried to see what had tripped her. She gasped when she realized it was Lloyd. He lay still, not moving. She couldn't tell if he was breathing. Desperate, she checked, and after a moment, she blew air into his mouth. She coughed, but managed to give him 2 more breaths. She knew they needed to get out fast. The heat was overwhelming. She'd never experienced anything like it. She felt her hair starting to burn and something running into her eyes. It was painful. Summoning all her strength, she pulled Lloyd's feet and started dragging him backward, coughing the whole time. Once outside, tears streamed down her face as she hugged him tightly and stumbled with him, finally collapsing onto the grass in the front yard. Neighbors rushed to help. "He's not breathing. I'll take a breath. You check for a pulse." "How do I do that?" She gave him several deep breaths, then felt his neck. There was no pulse. In a panic, she unbuttoned his shirt and did chest compressions. The neighbors gathered around to watch. She pressed fast and deep, feeling his ribs crack beneath her hands. "Come on, Lloyd, please." Suddenly, he stirred and coughed. "Lloyd, breathe! Just breathe for me!" She barely noticed the crowd shifting around her. A hand touched her shoulder, causing her to jump. Though she couldn't see clearly, she heard someone say, "We've got this now. Start the oxygen and check his rhythm. Get an IV started. Use his left arm. Make it a big one." Staring at the scene, she offered, "Here, let me help. You look a bit rough. Here's some oxygen for you, too." She continued to cough and spit out dirt and soot. "You did a brave thing, but that was dangerous. Please sit on the grass. Someone get her a blanket." She looked down and realized her shirt was gone. Feeling embarrassed, she quickly adjusted her clothing. Neighbors must have loved that, she thought, and blood. There was blood everywhere. She tried to figure out where it was coming from. She felt dizzy but went to touch her forehead. There was a big cut, a painful reminder, she thought. She pulled her hand away and looked at it. Then she glanced down and gasped. Her arm was bright red and there were bumps forming. The same was true for her chest, and she could feel them on her face. She felt so hot. A wave of sadness hit her when she saw her hair. It was damaged. Her beautiful hair was ruined. She could only stare at it. "Mom! Mom! You saved him! You saved Mr. Grisham, but you're hurt! Mom! You're hurt!" She wanted to hug her, but when she moved, Jamie winced in pain. "Sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." "It's all right, Chris. I'm okay." "She's fine, girls. Please step back a little and let her catch her breath. We need to start an IV and get her to the hospital with Mr. Grisham. Is your dad around?" "She's divorced. Just Chris and me." "Will you two be okay here by yourselves? Is there somewhere you can stay? Your mom will likely be in the hospital for a few days. We'll need to monitor her breathing closely." The girls looked at him, confused. "Sorry, she breathed in a lot of smoke, and that can harm the lungs." "Yes, sir. We can stay at my stepmom's, Emily. We were on our way when we saw the smoke." "Why don't you say goodbye to your mom? Try not to touch her too much. It might hurt. Then head over there and let Emily know what's happening, and that you'll be staying for a few days." "Yes, sir. Goodbye, Mom. We love you." All she could do was stare and mumble something like, "I love you" back. Her lips felt swollen too. Then she asked, "But how is Lloyd? Is he all right? Is he going to be okay? He wasn't breathing. He looks like he'll be all right. I think you helped save his life, but like you, he breathed in a lot of smoke, so we'll need to monitor his lungs too. He was better protected in long sleeves and pants, so he didn't get as hurt. I tripped over him and hit something I couldn't see. It was so smoky. It'll be okay. Just relax for now and let us take care of you. Who are you, by the way? Jamie. Matt. Lloyd's already on his way to the hospital. The second truck is here, so let's get you ready to go. She tried to focus on what the man was saying, but her thoughts became blurry, and she felt darkness closing in until she could see nothing. Her last thought was, he called me Miss. She woke up to the sound of beeping machines around her. There was something uncomfortable in her throat. She needed to get it out, but her hands were restrained. She began to move around. It's okay, Jaime. There's a breathing tube in your throat, but we're going to take it out soon. Just take a deep breath. That's it. She felt the tube being pulled from her mouth and noticed some moisture on her lips and neck. She tried to reach up again. Sorry about that. He cleaned her up. Now that we have that out, let me free your hands. We'll put on this face shield to help you breathe better. Your lungs have been struggling a bit. How long? Well, you've been in the ICU for 4 days now, but you're doing well. Your numbers are improving. Here, take a sip of water. It will help. Just then, the doctor came in. Ah, it's good to see you awake, Mrs. Logan. I'm Dr. Morgan. You really helped Mr. Grisham. You have some burns and smoke inhalation, but nothing too deep, and your lungs are responding well. So, she coughed softly. So we're keeping you here for now. Later this morning, you'll move to a different room. You need dressings twice a day, a high-calorie and high-protein diet, and plenty of liquids. You have to drink a lot of water since it's leaking out. In a weak voice, she asked, How long? You've been here 4 days, probably 3 or 4 more before you can go home. Lloyd? Is he okay? He's already home. You saved him. He has a few cracked ribs from your compressions, but is doing well. He only has some burns on his face. Talk to you later, Mrs. Logan. Jamie. Jamie it is. There are some anxious young ladies out here who want to see you if you feel up to it. Please! The girls rushed in. Mom, we were so worried! They tried to hug her but paused because her arms and body were covered with dressings. I really need that hug. Come here. They hugged her tightly and cried a little. It hurt, but it felt good too. Mom, look! You're a hero. You're in the paper and we saw you on the news. There's even a video. Then, in a quieter voice, she added, they had to cover you up a bit while you were doing CPR because, well, it was a little too much. But on the internet, there's no cover-up. They showed her the news clip. Oh my goodness, they filmed me? Really? They nodded. But you looked amazing, Mom. Your moment is trending. Well, that makes me feel so much better, Haley. Nothing like doing CPR and being all over the neighborhood news. I'm so embarrassed. Here, watch this clip. Oh my, I look like someone I saw at the fair. She paused. Pack our bags, girls. We need to move. But Mom, it's great. What? My moment on display? No way. But you looked really good, Mom. She laughed. I was hot, right? I was running a fever, remember? They all laughed together. No, really, Mom, you looked great. You're popular, Mom. What? You've got over a couple million views online and lots of hashtags. You're famous. Great, just what every mom wants. Topless Mom. But my favorite was the recipe for baked goodies. The girls both burst out laughing. Mom, we checked your computer and... What? Why would you do that? You have like 1,000 friend requests on Facebook and a bunch of emails with pictures. Some of the guys are really good looking and they all want to meet you and go out. Some girls too, if you're interested in changing things up a bit, Mom. Yeah, Mom, you need to get back out there. You know that girls have their needs. Just look at Chris and how she acts with her boyfriend. You'd be surprised, Mom. No way, Mom. Just another case of Haley trying to put her own behavior on me. Then in a soft voice, like a little girl, Mom, you know I've always been the good one, and Haley, well, and in a motherly tone while stroking Chris's hair, I know, Chris. You've always been the good girl who gets good grades and helps me around the house. Haley rolled her eyes. I might throw up. She really thinks she's got you fooled. But seriously, Mom, you should get out more. Fill your life a bit, she laughed. My life is not empty. I'm happy with it. So please just delete my accounts when you get home. If I want a date, I'll just sign up on that hog farmer's dating site or something. More laughter. You know, Mom, speaking of good-looking guys, that fireman came by a couple of times, but you were asleep. He's really nice. Chris and I talked with him when he came in. He asked all about you and wanted to know about school and sports. Girls, you shouldn't share so much with strangers, you know that. But Mom, he's a fireman, and he's really nice. In fact, here he comes. Matt, how's the firework going? Anything exciting today? Today's actually my day off. I just wanted to check in and see how you girls are doing. Hi, Jamie. You probably don't remember me, but I'm Matt. How are you? Do you need anything? Mom, we're heading out. Emily's been waiting quite a while. They hugged her, kissed her, and left with playful smiles. The universal "he's so cute" sign. She laughed. I'm doing well, Matt. Thanks for checking in on me. I guess I was asleep when you came by before. How's Lloyd? He's already been released. Doing okay. I guess one good thing about not breathing is you don't take in as much smoke. He's staying with family for a bit while they fix the house. Apparently, he had a little trouble with his cooking when he slipped and made a mess in the kitchen. He's lucky it didn't happen worse. You did a great thing, Mom. So when do you get to go home? A few more days. I need to figure out how to get back. Emily has to take the baby for a checkup. Haley can't drive yet, and they don't want me to drive. I can take you, Jamie. Okay, Matt. But why are you doing all this? Why are you visiting and offering to help? You see a lot of people after fires. Do you have a thing for single moms or something? Are you just trying to see more of me? He turned bright red and started to stumble over his words. She reached over and touched his hand. Just kidding, Matt. The girls say I'm all over social media, trending. Mom performs CPR and saves a life. I don't think I'll be able to leave the house. So you could see more than a glimpse, I'm told. But seriously, why? My mom said I should look for someone brave to date. Date? You want to date me? You don't really know anything about me, Matt. You're courageous, quick-thinking, and clearly care about your neighbors. You've raised 2 wonderful daughters who seem strong and well-adjusted. And well, you're very beautiful. Are those enough reasons? Yes, they probably are. But with bandages all over me, how can you tell what I look like? I can see it. But Jamie, I don't want to ask if you and Mr. Grisham are, together. When she heard this, she burst out laughing, so much that tears rolled down her cheeks, making things sting. Oh, that hurts. You think Lloyd and I... She kept laughing until she couldn't catch her breath. You're making my face hurt. Lloyd and I... Well, you weren't really dressed, and if you and Lloyd weren't, what happened to your top? I took it off because it was soaked, and I was trying to breathe through it while helping him. Honestly, if my situation was that bad that I would date someone his age, I'd be so embarrassed I'd just stay where I was. I wasn't really paying attention when my clothes got loose. And see? You're focused and smart. Okay, Matt. If you can make me laugh this hard, I needed that. You deserve a chance at a date. And yes, I would love it if you would drive me home when I'm ready to leave. If you can fit it into your schedule. I know you guys work weird hours. I would offer to cook you dinner, but I have no idea what's in the house. We can go out somewhere. Whatever you like. Can I see how I feel first? And how I look? You know my hair got burned and I look like a mess. But Jamie, you look beautiful just as you are. You're quite a charmer, aren't you, Matt? I have bandages all over my face and I'm not looking my best. They said that maybe I won't need the bandages tomorrow if new skin has formed, but I'll be a bit messy. I have to stay all oiled up. My chest and arms will take a few more days to heal. So, we'll see what happens. Chris, can you believe it? Mom has a date with that charming firefighter. It's not a date. He's just giving me a ride home from the hospital because Emily is busy with the baby. Sure, Mom, whatever you say. We'll make ourselves scarce so you two can have some time alone. But we want at least 1 foot on the floor at all times. Where did you hear about that? Dad, he gives us talks. Like I couldn't do all sorts of things like Chris with 1 foot on the floor. Chris rolled her eyes. Haley, Chris isn't like that, are you, Chris? Not you too, Mom. Haley's enough. Dad calls my boyfriend a suitor. They all laughed. Don't worry, your mom will act like a grown-up. But if I did have a date or two, would that be okay with you two? They looked at each other. Of course, Mom. Unless the guy is rude or something, but Matt seems nice. He talks to us like we are smart and have something to say, unlike some adults. You mean adults like your father? They nodded. I promise I will never be with anyone who doesn't treat you like the wonderful girls you are. Even you, Haley. Mom! They all laughed. Here we are, Matt. My cozy home. This is lovely, Jamie. Where are the girls? I don't... Oh, here's a note. They're at their stepmoms. Stepmoms, not dads? Long story. We got married young and then grew apart. The divorce was the right decision. Guilt washed over her as memories from a past trip came to mind. She wished she had just divorced him first before anything else, but she knew she wouldn't have been able to leave until Chris was in college so she could protect the kids from their dad. But that was 4 years ago. What about you, Matt? You're not married, are you? No. Pain flickered in his eyes. I was. For a while. We grew up together. Got married in college. We were planning our family and... His voice trembled and tears began to form. And there was a gas explosion at her mom's. I just hope she didn't suffer. Putting her hand on his knee. Oh, Matt, I'm so sorry. That must have been terrible. It hurts just to think about it. Tears filled her eyes as she watched him. But that's why you became a firefighter. Yup. He wiped his eyes, taking a deep breath. But that was 6 years ago. Seeing his sadness, she couldn't hold back her own tears. He looked so lost, like a little puppy. She looked into his eyes, feeling a connection. Her heart felt like it was slowly opening. Alarm bells went off in her head, warning her to stop. What was happening? She barely knew him, yet she sensed his need, and it resonated with her own. It felt right. She leaned in, put her arm around his shoulder, and kissed him. He froze at first, but then relaxed a bit, and kissed her back. Their lips touched gently. She let out a soft sigh, surprised by it. What was happening? Matt, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. I feel so awkward. I haven't. That was my first kiss since the divorce. He kissed her again. Wow, Matt. That was nice. But these bandages make things kind of strange. You don't even know what I look like yet. Going further is definitely off the table for now. They both laughed. It felt good and familiar. Look, Jamie, he said, checking the refrigerator. I'll make a salad. Here's some chicken I can cut up. But wow, look at all these casseroles. It seems like everyone in the neighborhood brought you something. They must really care. I can heat one of those up. Yeah, the kids didn't eat any of it. There are probably a dozen pizza boxes in the garage. Whatever you want is fine. Oh, and I have a garden out back. I hope it's okay after being neglected for a week. There should be tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers out there if some animals didn't get to them first. You have a garden? Of course. This is suburbia. You have to have a garden. It's the rule. My dad loved gardening, and we always had a big one. We used to can and freeze all kinds of stuff, and we had a few animals, too. Animals? Really? She laughed, and he joined in. No, not really. They look so odd, but the babies are cute. Anyway, I might as well be raising animals since I've had so many trying to eat from my garden. Tell you what, Jamie. I'll prepare something and you can hop in the shower and change your dressings. Then you can relax for the day. Are you going to peek at me, Matt? He turned red and started to say something. Just kidding, Matt. Just joking. She jumped in the shower, soaking her bandages so they would come off easily. She carefully cleaned herself and finally got to use her conditioner, then stepped out for a quick look. Her face? Mostly pink, with just a few small spots. She put on some moisturizer on the pink areas and was careful with the open parts. Her arms? All pink, too. Back? Pink? Chest? She noticed it looked a bit red. It seemed like she needed the dressings for a little while longer. She applied some non-stick gauze and a dressing pad, then thought maybe she should have Matt help her with the bandage. No, that felt too forward. Yup, definitely too forward. So she decided on a sports bra to keep everything in place. It looked a bit strange with everything poking out, but hair? Oh, what a mess. She needed to see Becky at the salon as soon as possible and do something about her burnt hair. She picked some strands and sniffed. They still smelled like smoke. It was frustrating. She really didn't like short hair, but maybe she could add some layers or try a different style. It would be good to look up some options before going. As for the rest of her, she felt pretty good considering she had 2 kids and was in her mid-30s. Maybe Haley was right. Maybe she was attractive. She wore a tank top to keep cool and a pair of jeans. "What did you cook, Chef Matt?" she asked with a smile. Jamie, you look wonderful. He seemed surprised, and she could feel her cheeks getting warm. Maybe her face looked pretty bright. I kind of miss the old look, but wow. I'm sorry to react like that. You remind me of a butterfly coming out of its cocoon. I don't really know what that means, but I'll take it as a compliment. That's when butterflies change from a cocoon to something beautiful. Oh, got it. So, what did you make? A quick salad and a casserole, it doesn't look too bad. Well, that casserole is way better than hospital food. I should really get things in order, like laundry and packing lunches for school. Thanks for bringing me home and for all your help. Can I see you again, Matt? Absolutely, but I need to take care of some things first. The grass needs cutting, the trash bins are out, and your downspout is loose. A big storm is coming, so let me handle those before I leave. Matt, you don't have to. It's really no trouble. You can't manage those things while you're recovering. And teenagers, they aren't always as dependable as we'd like. A couple of hours later, he said, "It's getting dark, so I should go, Jamie." Matt, Just then, Haley and Chris came through the front door. "Who let this guy into our all-girl house, Mom? You know the rules about boys." "Haley, be nice." But Matt just smiled. "Oh, he's just a bit sweaty. He's too charming to be annoying, right, Mom? He's got one foot in the room." "Chris, not you too. I expect this from your sister, but not you. Just so you know, he's been cutting the grass and doing the chores you both were supposed to do." "Oops. So anyway, Matt, when are you going to ask this wonderful mom out? She's been well taken care of by Chris and me, and look at her. She looks great. Did you put on enough moisturizer, Mom? You look a bit shiny, but seriously, almost brand new." She felt her cheeks flush again. "Haley, please." "Actually, Haley," he said with a grin, looking at Chimey, "I was thinking about asking tomorrow if your mom wants to, of course, and if it's okay with you guys." "Matt, she says yes. You have our official stamp of approval. Tomorrow is Friday, and that means appetizers are on sale at Fridays. Then you could take her to that club on 46th Street. "Haley, how do you know about that place?" "Well, I heard about it from some friends." "You've been to that club? Give me details." "Just kidding, Mom. Going to see dancing isn't really my thing. But if it were male dancers..." "Matt, do you see what I deal with? It's like this every day. I should send you both to school far away to find some quiet." "Sounds great. Mom, I found a school near Denver. Good academics. You can ski in winter and hike, raft, or rock climb in summer." "I was thinking more like a strict school for girls who misbehave. I really want to go out with you, Matt. Just let me know when. And we'll make sure she looks nice, Matt. No boring clothes. It'll be a stylish look. I hope you can handle it." "Haley, you are too much. She'll look great no matter what she wears. And just one foot on the floor, whatever that means." She stepped forward and hugged him, trying not to get her arms on his shirt. "Thanks, Matt. I appreciate everything." As he walked out, he heard, "We arrived just in time, Chris. Who knows what trouble those two might have gotten into without us to help. Maybe we should go tomorrow, just to keep an eye on our little mom from that charming guy." He chuckled and shook his head. Teenagers. "Hi, Matt. Come in for a moment while I get my purse." "Is it safe?" She chuckled. "Yes, they're supposed to be at Emily's tonight. They don't like it, but the court said they must." "You look great, Jamie." "Thanks, Matt. Can't do much with my hair or my eyebrows. Here, I brought you some flowers. Dahlias, I love them. Where did you find them?" "From my city garden." "Matt, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assume." "It's okay. We still have so much to learn about each other. Ready?" "Dinner was wonderful, Matt. Sorry about the dancing. I can't do that. If I sweat, it gets uncomfortable, but we can talk more. I'd invite you to my place, but the girls might be back. They're very curious. I'd like to see your place, too. Check out that dahlia garden." "Sure, I'd like that." "Well, here we are. Matt, this house is beautiful, and the yard is amazing. I've worked in landscaping since I was about 12. First for neighbors, then at a nearby nursery. I learned a lot. Look at this garden. I only have simple things: tomatoes, peppers, zucchini, lettuce in the spring, but you have eggplant, okra, squash, cantaloupe." He nodded. "And these flowers and roses. She really liked flowers. I guess I just kept planting them. I enjoy trying new ones, too." "Oh, Matt, you must have cared for her a lot. I'm really sorry for your loss." She stepped closer, placed her hands on his shoulders, and kissed him. Then she did it again. Matt, can we go inside? Of course. He took her hand and they sat on the couch. Without thinking, she leaned in and kissed him, which made her let out a sigh. She paused, confused. Why was she sighing? There was just something about Matt. Matt? I'm usually not like this, actually. I've never been like this, but I really like your kisses. She kissed him again, more intensely now. Excitement grew between them. They both felt where things were heading, but hesitated to take the next step. Matt! Oh no, I'm getting stuff on your shirt. You should take it off before I ruin it. That's a pretty cheesy thing to say, Jamie. He chuckled. It works every time. He took off his shirt. She reached out and touched him, running her fingers through his hair, which was just enough and across his muscles. She never realized he had such a fit body. Wow, Matt, I really like your chest. I'd show you mine, but I'd probably make a mess. Not very romantic, right? It's fine, I've seen it. She felt embarrassed and playfully nudged his shoulder, but I hope to see it soon. I hope so too. Matt, She couldn't finish her sentence. Instead, she leaned in and kissed him, letting the moment take over. Her hands began to explore his chest, back, arms, and thighs. She felt a bit unsure as her hands slid down, but then stopped. Is this okay? Would you want to? I'm being very bold here. Maybe we should stop, right? Help me out, Matt. He stood up, took her hand, and gently guided her towards the bedroom. Memories of another time filled her mind. Someone else had done the same with her before. She paused. No, I'm sorry, Matt. We just met and someone else once led me to a bedroom like this and it didn't end well. He let go of her hand and reached for another shirt. I'm sorry, Hamie, it's fine. No pressure. We can just sit on the couch or I can take you home. I guess I misread. No, you understood the signs. They were all green. This is my struggle. I just need a bit more time to figure things out. Would it be okay if you took me home? Matt, I like you a lot. But, no buts, I mean it. I just need to sort things out. Truthfully, I'm scared. Me too, Jamie. It's been a long time since I had anyone, so we both need some time to sort our feelings. Let's get you home. Matt, I didn't ruin everything, did I? Not at all. Do you want to call me when you're ready to go out again, or I'll call you? 2 days later, she took a deep breath and called him. Matt, I'm coming over, okay? No, it's nothing special. I just need to see you. Great. I'll be there soon. Thanks. She knocked and he opened the door. She walked straight up to him and kissed him deeply. Well, Matt entered the room and Jamie greeted him silently, taking his hand and leading him toward the bedroom. He started to speak, but she placed a finger on his lips to stop him. I just want to be close to you, Matt, she said softly. I know I'm a bit of a mess, but I need this right now. Is that okay? Before he could answer, she kissed him, and they quickly fell into a deep embrace. She led him to the bed, and there was no hesitation. Jamie was in control this time. It was something she wanted, something she needed. As they continued kissing, she placed his hand gently on her chest. Be gentle, she whispered with a small smile. He obliged, his hand slipping under her shirt, moving slowly as she relaxed into his touch. For a moment she pulled back, catching her breath. Wait, she said, standing up. She removed her clothes but kept her bra on. I still have some dressings on, she explained. Is that all right? Of course, Matt said with a gentle laugh. You're beautiful, Jamie. Thanks. Now come on, she said playfully. We've got more important things to do. Matt began to undress, and as they held each other close, Jamie could feel the warmth between them grow. It was more than just physical, it was an emotional connection she had never felt before. This wasn't like any other relationship. She felt her heart open as they embraced fully, closer than ever. Lying on the bed, Jamie reached down, her hand gently exploring his waistline. It was a quiet moment of intimacy, something meaningful beyond just attraction. But before she could go further, Matt gently pulled her back up, surprising her by turning the focus to her. He began to softly kiss his way down her body, a tenderness in his touch that caught her off guard. For the first time, someone was putting her first, showing her care in a way she hadn't experienced. It wasn't rushed or demanding, it was sincere and thoughtful. The feeling left her both surprised and deeply moved. The connection they shared was unlike anything she had felt before, and it filled her with a warmth that lingered long after the moment ended. Jamie felt an overwhelming sense of connection with Matt as they lay together. She couldn't quite understand how something so simple, like being close to him, could bring her so much comfort and joy. Maybe it was because he made her feel cared for in a way she hadn't felt before. As her thoughts wandered, a quiet laugh escaped her, though it was soon interrupted by a deep sigh as she became lost in the moment. The intensity of her emotions grew, and before long she felt a rush of warmth wash over her. "Matt," she whispered, almost in disbelief at how close they had become. The feeling was so powerful she couldn't help but tremble. She gently shifted her position, turning toward him, and rested her head close to his chest. Everything about this moment felt right to her. Being next to him, feeling the warmth of his presence, it was comforting in a way that words couldn't fully capture. As they lay there, her mind drifted. She found herself hoping that this relationship would last, that Matt truly cared for her the way she cared for him. She was already in deeper than she expected, but there was something about him that made her want to trust that things would work out. She cherished the quiet connection between them, and for the first time in a long while, she felt at peace. Matt pressed Jamie closer for a moment, then relaxed. He let out a surprised breath. "Wow, Jamie, that was something else." Jamie gave a playful smile, "Just trying to do my best." They were both still close, their connection strong. She moved down the bed and adjusted herself, settling in comfortably. She whispered, "Can I stay here forever, Matt?" But soon she started moving, finding her rhythm and pace, feeling in control of the moment. It was her time to focus on what felt right, knowing that they were both enjoying this together. "Turn around," Matt said with a grin. "I want to see you." Jamie laughed, enjoying how easy and natural everything felt between them. It was almost like they had done this many times before, though they hadn't. She turned and resumed their moment together, smiling down at him. "You're supposed to have your eyes closed, thinking of ways to make me happy," she teased. Matt chuckled. "I just can't help noticing the look you have with that sports bra." "You're such a goof," she said, laughing again. She could feel him becoming more involved, his movements more intense. It felt like everything was building up, and soon they were in sync. Matt's focus shifted, and he held her tightly, continuing to make sure she felt just as good as he did. He kept going, his attention fully on her until she felt a wave of happiness wash over her. Jamie leaned forward, exhausted but content. "Matt, that was wonderful. I know we haven't known each other long, but this felt so easy, so natural." Matt smiled. "Well, thank you for that. I usually have a rule about this." "A rule?" she asked, curious. "Yeah, I don't usually do this on the second date," he said with a grin. "Oh, so it would have been fine on the first date then?" she joked. Matt laughed. "Exactly." "Well, since the rules are already broken," Jamie said, turning with a playful glint in her eye, "why not break them again?" With that, she leaned in closer, their connection deepening once more. They both shared a quiet moment, laughing softly as they let the evening unfold naturally, without any rush or pressure. It was just two people enjoying each other's company, feeling comfortable and at ease. After a little while, he changed their positions. She enjoyed different ways of being together, but this one was still her favorite. He was close to her, making her feel secure. Looking into each other's eyes felt like bliss. She thought, "God, I know this might not be the right moment for a prayer. I have asked for help before, but please hear me one more time. Don't let him leave. Let him stay with me. I promise to do my best to make him happy. Thank you." Then it was time to join the others again. She stayed the night and woke up in his arms. She felt a heaviness on her leg and was afraid to move. She didn't want to disturb him. What would this morning be like? She remembered her prayer. "Please, God." "Good morning, beautiful. You look great even first thing in the morning with your messy hair, and you know I love casual clothes." She kissed him gently, taking her time to enjoy the moment. "Last night was amazing, Matt. Thank you. I hope there are many more nights like that. If I have a say in it, this is just the beginning." She said thank you to God again. "I want to know more about you, Matt. Sometimes I feel like I know so little, even though it feels like I've known you forever. I'm sorry if I'm rushing things." "No, I feel the same way. Being with you feels easy and natural, and wow, last night was something else. That was only the beginning. If you play your cards right." She looked at the clock. "Matt, I need to take a quick shower and get home. I want to be there before the girls arrive, just in case. They should be at their dad's, but you never know. Sure, let me make some coffee and... No, I'll cook breakfast for you at my place so we can beat the girls home. You can just drop me off if you have plans for your day off. I wouldn't think of it. I need a shower too. I promise, just cleaning, nothing else. I really wish we could stay here all day, but deal. You'll get to see me without my usual clothes on. Oh, right. You and the world have already seen me. She felt a bit embarrassed still. Most people I talked to gave great reviews about it and shared with their friends. We even have a poster at the fire station. When it's quiet, we gather to watch some videos. You're making me laugh, Matt. Come on, let's get going. Aw, man. What's wrong, Jamie? The girls are here. You should leave now, Matt. I can't predict how this will turn out, but it might be awkward. No, I want to see the girls again. Okay, you asked for it, but Matt, before we go in, I just want to say I had the best time yesterday, and especially last night. It was wonderful, maybe even the best time ever. Thank you. She leaned over the truck and gave him a quick kiss. We should stop. They might be watching. Are you ready to face the challenge? They stepped inside, glancing at a watch that wasn't there. Well, Mom, looks like you stayed out a little late last night, didn't you? Haley? It's okay, Mom. I know you both were just on the couch watching a nature show and fell asleep while those cute zebras were on screen. When you woke up, the car wouldn't start. There was a big accident in the way home and the rain washed out the bridge, even though there was no bridge. We would never say our mom did anything wrong, she said, putting her arm around her mom. Now, Mom, we have talked about what's appropriate when dating, what boys are looking for, and what happens if you show all your cards too soon, right? Haley, you are really something. Matt laughed. Did you grow taller? I'm just 5'10". You know, Mom, as we get older, our body changes and we can get a bit shorter. I would guess you're about 5'4", or maybe a bit less. What do you mean as we age? Well, Mom, it's been a while since you grew tall. I'm still growing, though. But let's focus on you now. I know you're new to dating, so if you have questions or need advice, just ask me, now, about other things. Should I ask you about that too, Miss Know-It-All? Definitely not. Ask Chris. She's the wild one in the family. Matt chuckled. Ever since she got that tattoo. Chris? No tattoo, Mom. Haley is just being a bit dramatic. She'll calm down soon. But she's the one dating the 20-year-old. 20-year-old? Haley, do you want to explain? We've talked about this. But Mom, he's really nice. And he's done so well since he got help and is working on his GED. His piercings are interesting too. You wouldn't believe one of them. Enough. Matt, I'm sorry. Yes, laugh all you want. Just wait until they tease you. We would never do that to Matt. He's too charming. Haley pinched his cheek. And he's a first responder. Thank you for your service. And thank you. So what are you two up to today? It's Saturday. Nothing much. Just hanging out online, trying to find something fun. We have to get back to Dad's. He gets all worked up if we're not there on his days. He doesn't talk or spend time with us, but we have to be near. Can't wait until I'm 18. Let's go, Chris. Let's leave this place and let them do their thing. She hugged her mom and whispered in her ear, away from Matt. Mom, you look so happy. You're glowing. I'm really glad to see it. I love you, Mom. I love you too, sweetie. Now get out of here. You've made enough noise. Matt? She stepped forward and kissed him. Last night was amazing. I'd ask you to stay, but I have a lot to take care of. I'd love to do it again soon if you want. It was great. How about I see you tonight? Oh, wait, I can't. I have a long shift tomorrow, so I understand. Just let me know when we can get together again. Sure thing. Maybe Monday? Unless things go badly. But before I go, I noticed a lot of things here that need fixing, like that leaky sink. What if I work on some of that first and then we'll see what time it is? Matt, you don't have to. We've managed fine. I insist. Do you have any tools here? They spent most of the day working together. Late in the afternoon, she took a shower for her second dressing change. She put on moisturizer and sunscreen to protect her skin. She dressed lightly and felt good about how she looked. She hoped he would agree. She walked out of the bedroom where he was holding iced tea and staring at her. What, Matt? Do I have something on me? No, you just look so lovely. She felt herself blush. Thanks, Matt, you look a bit messy. They both laughed. It's hard to stay clean while working under the sink and changing oil in the mower. I should probably head home soon since my shift starts early tomorrow. Guess I'll have to watch some videos to relax. Matt, 3 months later. Are you ready for this, Matt? I have no idea why John is doing this. He's never had a cookout or any kind of gathering before. My family, his family, my sister Emily, neighbors. This is so unlike him, and it worries me. And why at the beginning of December? The weather can be nice sometimes, but it isn't always. We could just say you had to work or something. No, it's okay, Jamie. What could go wrong? If I can handle Haley, I can handle this. She felt really worried. John was definitely up to something, and December was a tricky time. Haley's birthday, the ski trip, his divorce filing, and Christmas. So many changes happening. So, how are you holding up, Matt? Fine. Everyone's been nice. I have to admit I need a plan for what to do. But we can figure that out later. She gave him a quick kiss. Oh, that's not right. Look at her. Will you be okay for a few minutes? I need to get Haley to watch the kids and help Emily clean up. Sure. I'm just going to move over and grab another soda, and maybe a couple of cookies. Go for it. You deserve it for dealing with this. I love you, and I love you. Go. I'll be fine. She squeezed his hand and rushed to help. Hi. Matt, right? I'm John, Jamie's ex-husband. I'm glad to finally meet you. Nice to meet you too, John. Thanks for coming to my little barbecue. We're almost done, and the girls will head home soon. Chris and Haley have said good things about you. No, all good things. And Emily thinks you're great. That's why you're here. Look, I don't know what Jaime told you about our breakup. She said you both got married young and then grew apart, and that parting ways was the best choice. That's true, I guess, but she left out something important. We had a Christmas ski trip, and she hurt her arm like a sprain. She said she couldn't ski, but she ended up being unfaithful while the girls and I were on the slopes. It wasn't right. You can't imagine how much the breakup affected the girls. I tried to get us to go to counseling, but she wouldn't even think about it. It broke my heart. We had been together since college, so be careful with that. So again, you seem like a nice guy. Do what you want with this information. Thanks again for coming and being so great with the girls. Then he turned and walked away. Matt was very quiet on the way home. Something was clearly bothering him. She needed to talk to him. Okay, girls. Go inside and get ready for bed. I'll be in soon to read your favorite story. Mom! We don't do that anymore. Unless you'll read us that silly one Chris bought. I can't believe any guy would really... Haley! Good night, Matt. They hugged him and hurried into the house. Matt, do you want to come in for a bit? You seem worried. Maybe I can help. I don't know. Jaime, we need to talk about something. Sure, Matt. What is it? I talked to John tonight. Oh, no. She felt a tear roll down her cheek. Here it comes. It's over. She instinctively knew John had set this up. And he said you were unfaithful while your family was on vacation. Is that true? Oh, no. Her world was falling apart. Another tear fell from her face, and she could hardly keep her eyes open through the tears. Why did she ever do it? She should have told Matt. That one day would stay in her mind forever. She thought about John with frustration. Yes, it's true. It was the only time. The worst mistake I ever made, and I would never do it again. I hate myself for it. Jamie, I enjoy being with you. It's been wonderful. I care about the girls, but I don't think I can be with someone who would hurt her family like that. I thought I knew you, but I think it's best if I leave for a while. Matt, I love you. I would never think of doing something like that again. I should have taken care of things first. It doesn't really matter, Jaime. You did it once. I can't be sure you wouldn't do it again. She remembered a moment of feeling lost and looking up at the sky, but this felt even worse. So I'm going to go now. See you, Jaime. Thank you for everything. I hope you can understand. I understand, Matt. She turned and ran into the house, struggling to breathe and think. Tears were streaming down her face. She didn't stop until she fell onto her bed and buried her face in the pillow, crying hard. Suddenly, she felt Haley hugging her. Mom! Mom! Are you okay? Oh, Haley, Matt just broke up with me, out of nowhere. I thought we were... Matt broke up with you. She nodded. I can't believe it. He really likes you. I did something terrible years ago and now it's haunting me. Matt found out tonight and now he's gone. I froze. I couldn't say anything. I think he talked to your dad. He listened to Dad? He lied about everything. I heard him. I tried to explain things to Matt, but Grandma held him back. Then we had to leave. I'm sorry, Mom. He probably didn't need to lie. I messed everything up. I shouldn't have done what I did. I should have waited until you were older. It was hard on you both. No, Mom. You should have left him much earlier. He was unkind and hurt you all the time. We were so much happier living with you. We wished we could do it all the time, and you know you were better off on your own. You've taught us to be strong and stand up for ourselves. Sorry, Mom, but that's why things didn't work with Kyle. I liked him a lot, but then he wanted to control how I looked, how I dressed, everything. I couldn't take it, so I ended it. But now Matt's gone. I thought I was doing fine on my own. I was just starting to open up and truly connect with Matt, and then your dad took that away from me too. How can he still affect my life like this? How can he feel happy while I face so much sadness? I've been struggling my whole life. Why is that? Mom, how do you know he's happy? He won't find true happiness. He'll always feel like something is missing. Honestly, despite everything, you're better off than he is. In time, things will work out. Remember, you have us. What you did wasn't ideal, but it's nothing compared to what Dad did with Emily and others before her. Haley, how do you know about all this? Mom, we share a closet, and Dad wasn't quiet when he argued with you. Chris was too young to notice, but I felt so angry about what he did. I worried when you came back after that trip, and I wanted to be there for you. But you did great on your own. I'm proud of you, Mom. They shared a warm hug as Jamie cried. Thank you, Haley. I don't know what I would do without you and Chris. Just let it all out for now. Isn't that what you told me when I broke up with Kyle? I'll sleep here with you tonight, okay? Thank you, Haley, but I'm sorry. I shouldn't drag you into my problems. I'll handle this myself. No, Mom. It's our problem. It affects all of us. We want to help. Let's get you settled and comfortable. Just give it some time. You'll find someone who cares, even if it's not Matt. But I think he'll come around. In the meantime, we're here for you and we'll focus on making you happy, all right? So she cried again. It had been a week and her mom still hadn't smiled or laughed. Haley knew she had to do something. Chris, what's going on? You're moving so slowly. I hurt my back playing volleyball. It's stiff and I can't move well. I've tried heat and some medicine, but it hasn't helped. I have an idea. Lie down and I'll help rub some cream on your back. It might make you feel better. Are you sure? What do you want from me? Nothing at all. I just see you're in pain and I want to help. Okay, but please be gentle. Of course, just relax. Here comes the cream. It might feel a bit cold at first, but I'll rub it in and help ease the tightness. Wow, your muscles are really tense. After this, it would be nice to rest. I know it's December, but it's sunny outside and it's supposed to be warm. You could wear your new swimsuit and sit in the sun. That should help too. Good idea. What is that noise? Oh, just getting something else to help out. All done? How does it feel? Actually, much better. And you didn't hurt me. You hurt my feelings, sister. Go lie in the sun for a bit and you'll feel better. Okay, I have to go. Mom, I'm heading to the library to find some information for a school project. I'll be back soon. Chris is going to relax in the sun for a while as her back hurts. You might want to check on her. Okay. Chris walked by with a towel and lay down on the lounge chair, facing the sun. Her mom stepped outside a little later to see how she was doing. Chris? How are you, Chris Logan? I said no tattoos. What? What are you talking about, Mom? The new tattoo on your back? New tattoo, Haley. She jumped up. Where is she? I'm going to be so mad. She rubbed my back. I knew something was off. I can't believe I fell for it. Haley did that? Her mom started laughing so hard she could barely breathe. Mom, it's not funny. You have to do something. Punish her. Don't let her use the car when she gets a license. But then Chris began laughing too. And on top of that, she told me to wear the swimsuit and lie in the sun just so you'd see it. And it's a biohazard symbol. Her mom laughed more. I'm sorry, Chris. I have to sit down. I really needed that. I knew something was up when she said she was going to the library. She never even goes to libraries. She kept laughing. I feel sorry for whoever she goes after next. Let me take a look at that. Oh, Chris, I think it's that henna stuff. It won't come off easily. You'll just have to wait for it to fade away. Chris hugged her. It's fine. I kind of like it, maybe when it wears off. No! No unwanted symbols, especially not a biohazard sign. And she burst into laughter again. Chris took out her phone. You are so mean! But you did make her laugh a lot. Good job. Chris, those hamburgers and hot dogs were amazing. Cooked just right. It's so nice to be here on your birthday, Haley. December 23rd. You're 16 now. I remember the day you were born. Time goes so fast. Before we light the candles and have some cake, your grandpa and I have a present for you. Where's that special guy of yours, Jamie? Why isn't he here for this special day? He had to work, Mom. He would have come if he could. You know, Haley, it's too bad your mom didn't invite your dad. He's a great father who cares so much about you two. Jamie, I'll never understand how you threw that all away. You had everything, and John was so good to you. He tried so hard to make you happy. Now, you won't even invite him to your child's special 16th birthday. That doesn't seem right. Haley glanced over at her mom, who was getting red in the face, her fists clenching. Jamie stood up and said, "Really, Mom? Is that the right thing to say right before we cut the cake?" Haley sighed. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm not feeling well. I'm going to lie down for a bit. You and Grandma can enjoy the cake. I'll join you later." "Mom? Should we come with you?" Chris asked. "No, that's all right. Please stay and have cake with Grandma and Grandpa. I just need a moment." "I understand, Mom. We'll be in soon." "I can't believe your mom would leave just when it's time for cake. I hope you girls learned something from this." "Enough, Grandma. You've talked enough. I'm tired of listening to you when you don't really understand what's happening. You don't know the whole story." "Chris, that's not right." "Be quiet, Grandma. You are guests in this house, our house. You should show respect to Mom. How could you talk to her like that? I think it's time for you to listen, don't you think, Chris? It's time." She nodded. "Haley, you shouldn't speak to your grandma like that. Now it's your turn to be quiet, Grandpa. If you want to be welcome here again and see us, you need to listen to Haley. It's your choice. Leave or stay. It doesn't matter to us anymore. We're tired of this. Go ahead, Haley." "My dad is not a nice person. He's selfish and hurtful. You think he was a great husband? Let me tell you how life was with him. From the time I can remember, he was always yelling at Mom, every single day, about nothing. She just accepted it. If he had a bad day at work, he would take it out on her, breaking things and making our home a mess. If his team lost a game, the same thing would happen. Mom went to the hospital at least twice because of him, and maybe more. I think he wanted her to be there to take care of him. He never helped out and never spent time with us. Mom did everything, even things like mowing the lawn. But she missed many of our family events. That wasn't fair. Dad always made sure to be there. Right. He would hurt her so she couldn't go. She didn't want anyone to see what was happening. Then he'd show up looking like the perfect dad. You really think she fell all the time? Please, she coached sports and helped us with dance. She was active and strong. He broke her arm and made her injuries worse. And now he's starting to do the same with Emily. More trips away, late-night meetings, finding fault, yelling. I don't think he has hit her yet, but it seems to be getting worse. Haley, I just can't believe this. Why would you say things like that? Are you really so unaware, Grandma? Just wait here for a minute. I'll be right back. Haley, do you think that's a good idea? Mom doesn't know we know about those pictures. It's time to show what I have, Chris. She returned and laid some photos down in front of her grandmother. What do you think these are, Grandma? Who is? Oh my, it's Jamie. Exactly. Photos taken by her divorce lawyer on December 26th. And you know, Grandma, there were many times she looked much worse. Since the divorce, we have to spend time with Dad. He doesn't talk to us or do anything with us. Invite him to my party? I don't think he even remembers my birthday. And that's just the beginning. You're right, Grandma. What Mom did wasn't fair. But did you ever ask her why? Did you hear her crying at night, asking for forgiveness? No, I didn't think so. She said she made a mistake but didn't talk about anything else, Haley. Of course not. She tried to stay respectful while Dad spreads lies about her everywhere. Almost none of it is true. She has never said anything bad about him, but he complains about her every time we're with him, even now. He's talked so much that people believe him and look at her funny. Even her own parents accept what he says. And now she's happy with Matt. Things are going well. Dad has a barbecue. He's never done that before. But he did it just to talk to Matt alone. I heard what he said, trying to convince Matt to leave her. That's why Matt isn't here today, Grandma. Dad couldn't stand to see her happy, so he took that from her too. But Haley, she did cheat on him. Yes, Grandma. One time, one person, and she felt terrible about it. Dad was with Emily for 18 months before that, and she was just the latest. Oh, I don't believe that. So, you never found it strange that he got divorce papers on Thursday, moved in with Emily that weekend, and within a month said they were getting married once the divorce was final? And oh, by the way, she's going to have a baby. That's some quick dating. I guess I never thought about it. Of course not. You just believed Dad like everyone else did. It's like 5 people against 1. Mom never defended herself. She acted like she deserved the blame, but she didn't. You know, Grandma, they say the one who complains the most about a mistake often has made that mistake themselves. A brief look of guilt crossed Heidi's face. Wow, did you see that, Chris? Yep, I did. So, Grandma, does Grandpa know? He's looking at you closely. I think it's time for you two to leave. Don't come back here. Please do not speak to my mother or either of us again until you apologize and show her the respect she deserves for being the amazing woman and mother she is. She is a survivor who escaped a difficult situation. You were part of the problem, not the solution. You should really think about that and feel ashamed. You never tried to help her. Instead, you worked with Dad to make things harder for her. Why would you do that? She is such a good person. Here is your gift. I don't want it. I don't want anything from either of you again. Please leave. We need to check on Mom. Thanks a lot for making my 16th birthday so unforgettable. And maybe have a nice chat on your way home about right and wrong and perhaps even forgiveness. It's the Christmas season after all. Come on, Chris, let's go see Mom. They walked down the hallway toward the bedroom. She paused. No, wait. I think I need to keep going. It's my birthday and Christmas too. You help Mom. I'll talk to Matt first. Then if Mom is okay, maybe we should visit Emily. What do you think? I agree. Good luck. Christmas is a time for change and miracles. Watch out, world. The hailstorm is coming. Haley entered the fire station. Hi, is Matt Richards here? I need to speak with him. Yes, he's in the back organizing some things. Just go down that hallway. She walked past the fire engines and down the hall. Matt was sorting rescue supplies when he looked up. Haley, what brings you here? Matthew, we really need to talk. He smiled and chuckled a bit. She playfully tapped his arm. Yes, Matt, I understand what those words mean. I'm 16 now. And yes, you missed my birthday. I'm sorry, Haley, it's just... Forget it. I know what those words can lead to. I heard them the other day because I wouldn't. Well, that's another story. I thought you cared about my mom. I did. I mean, I still do. But you listened to my dad, left her, and hurt her feelings. Good job. And let me guess, she didn't defend herself or try to explain. She just stood there like a deer in the headlights, said something like, I understand, and went inside crying. Yeah, but your dad wasn't the only one telling me that. There were others, too. Matt, let me tell you a story. Once there was a wonderful woman full of life who ended up pregnant in college. Instead of giving up her baby, she chose to keep me and married a difficult man who treated her very poorly and often yelled at her. She never fought back or stood up for herself. She just took it so she could raise her kids and keep them safe from their dad. For 12 years, she always made sure I was not left alone with him. She went on a family ski trip, and near the end of her first run, she fell and hurt her arm. It was hard to watch. I still remember how it looked. My dad started shouting at her so loudly that everyone on the slope stopped. Chris and I were in a lesson and heard everything. He was just upset that she messed up his plans. He didn't help her at all. She was trying to get up when a ski patrol came over and assisted her. He was nice and looked better than you, Matt. Ouch. Anyway, she spent a couple days with him while we were skiing. My dad found out, and on Christmas Day, when he thought we were asleep, he confronted her and said he was going to leave her and take us away. She didn't fight back. She just said, I understand, and took it. Sound familiar? He was really awful to her. Then she started to break down. Probably just like she did with you, but this time she was only down for a little while. With you, she is still struggling. But that night, something changed. I saw her, Matt. She stayed awake all night checking records, the phone, and all sorts of things. She didn't pause for a second. I was so tired. The next morning, though, she looked great and left the house to do a bunch of things. My dad was really surprised. He was very angry, too. He kept asking us what she was doing, getting more and more upset. When she came back, they went to the bedroom. Instead of asking for his forgiveness, Mom said she had just met with a lawyer and had talked to Emily. What he didn't mention to you was that he had been seeing Emily for a year and a half. He lost it and started shouting at her. I almost went in to help her, then I heard her say in a voice that really scared me that if he ever touched her again, she would fight back. She told him she had recorded the whole thing and wanted her kids in the house. That wasn't true, but it was a smart bluff. She got the house, but we still had to spend some time with our dad. He never paid what he was supposed to, like support for us. She managed everything on her own. My dad treated us badly. The clothes he wanted us to wear were terrible. He wouldn't listen to Emily when she tried to get us decent things. And his lunches. I still feel sick thinking about them. My mom cared enough that she took her savings, bought an old van, and drove it to school on the days he dropped us off. This way we could jump in the van and change clothes so we wouldn't feel embarrassed or teased all day. He wouldn't let us wear regular clothes or even decent underwear. He had some strange old-fashioned things that showed when I wore gym shorts, until my mom stepped in and helped us. Plus, she packed us great lunches every day. After school, she'd be there so we could change back into those uncomfortable clothes before going back to Dad's. She knows she made a mistake, and I still hear her asking for forgiveness, Matt. Every night she prays to God to let her be happy again. We can hear her from the closet. Can you imagine how hard it is to listen to your mom crying and pleading late at night? That's why you've never heard her side of the story. Did she ever say anything to you while you were together? He shook his head. She seemed sad and lonely, but she tried to hide it from us and her friends. Then one day she met this fireman and she lit up. She was truly happy. Chris and I had never seen her that way before. Then Dad took that happiness away too. The light just went out. She still acts happy, but it's just a mask. So, Matt, you don't have to love her if you don't want to. You don't need to be with her if it's not what you want. But please don't completely turn your back on her. At least talk to her and help her. Be her friend. I promise you she has faced so much for a brief moment of something that she would never do it again. If you're worried about trust, and I understand that, you don't need to be afraid. She would never choose that path again. Well, that's all I came to say. I might have messed up the story, but I hope you understand the message. She stood up to leave, and he grabbed her arm and hugged her. Thank you, Haley. I think I really messed up. You're a smart girl, and your mom is lucky to have you on her side. Yes, you have. I think she knows that too, though there are days when she might doubt me. They shared a laugh. Now you should do what you know is right. Matt, she is a wonderful person, and I know she would make you happy if you gave her a chance. Plus, you get Chris and me as a bonus. She smiled at him, and he hugged her again. So, Haley, what's the best way for me to reconnect with her? You could ask her out, but that might feel awkward and hard to talk about. I suggest letting me know when you're planning to come over. Chris and I can step out, and then you'll have the house to yourselves. She'll be surprised to see you, and I bet she'll be really emotional. I wish I could film it. What about tonight after work? Around 7:30? That sounds perfect. Thanks, Matt. She gave him a quick kiss on the cheek, turned, and left. Suddenly the doorbell rang. Who could that be at this hour? Matt! What was he doing here? She panicked. Her hair was a mess. She hadn't put on any makeup, and she worried that she smelled from all the cleaning she had been doing to distract herself from her problems. She quickly looked down. Her clothes. She thought she looked terrible. Oh no! She opened the door. Matt, what are you doing here? Did you leave something behind? No. Jamie, I need to talk to you. Can I come in for a bit? Sure, I guess. But, Matt, I've been cleaning. I look a mess. You look great as always, Jamie. Well, I don't know where to start. Your friend John told me about the ski trip, and I guess I was really surprised. Maybe that's not the right word. But I couldn't believe someone would act that way on a family vacation. My dad cheated on my mom, and it was terrible. I never wanted to find myself in a situation like that, but I didn't give you a chance to explain. So, could you tell me about the young girl that got pregnant and the ski trip? Matt, how do you know about that? Haley, that's why they left tonight. Matt, she shouldn't have... No, she did the right thing. She made me listen. She helped me see that I jumped to conclusions without hearing your side of the story. But you probably wouldn't have told me everything anyway, would you? She shook her head. Matt, it was the biggest mistake I ever made in a life filled with mistakes. I would never do anything like that again, ever. But I did, and it made me feel unworthy of being with you. Are you kidding? It's the other way around. You're strong and confident. You raised two amazing daughters, and it seems like you did it all by yourself, not John. So I want to know about you, Jamie. I want to hear what you've held back from me. So she began to share. The years of feeling trapped, the hard times, the need to stay in the marriage for her daughter's sake, the ski trip, and then the aftermath. She started to cry early on, and he sat next to her, wrapping an arm around her, pulling her close as she shared her story. And then you faced me, and my guilt hit me hard. I knew I deserved to feel bad for what I'd done. I know it's not right to feel that way, but I did. Matt, it's all right, Jamie. It's in the past. You've punished yourself enough. He turned her head gently and kissed her. She turned to him, and they kissed again, more passionately. Matt, I've never felt this way about anyone before, not John or anyone else. I know we were only together for a few months, but I feel the same, and it's strange and a little scary. I haven't felt this way for 6 years. She took his hand. Matt, could we? He nodded, and without saying anything more, they moved to the bedroom together. But again she paused. Matt, my whole life others controlled me. They made all the choices and judged me. I will never let that happen again. But I don't want to control anyone either. I don't want to make all the decisions myself. I want a partner, a teammate, someone I can trust. I want us to make decisions together as a team. I understand that two people may not always agree. Sometimes one of us has to give in, or we might need to delay decisions, but we have to be equals. If this is something that works for you, I'm all in, now and for as long as you want me. You won't need to worry about me looking for anyone else. I've made my share of mistakes, and I've learned from them. So before we go on, I need to know, am I dreaming, or can this really work for us? Is this a path we should explore? Jamie, I've only felt this way once before, and I didn't think I would again. It can only work if we are partners, equal and honest with each other. I'd love to take this chance and see where it leads us. Honestly, I can't imagine it going wrong. She leaned in and kissed him. Oh, Matt, I hoped you'd say that. She smiled at him. But I would have spent the night with you anyway because I really need to be close to you tonight. He chuckled as they entered the room together. She turned and locked the door, then closed the closet. He looked at her curiously. The kids. Just in case. She held him tight, and they kissed. Oh, Matt, I've missed you so much. I've longed to feel you close. It's been hard. They embraced again and kissed before moving toward the bed. A couple of hours later, Chris, look, Matt's truck is still in the drive. In a playful tone, she said, What are those kids up to? We better be quiet when we go in. They sneaked inside, and Haley pointed to the closed bedroom door while putting a finger to her lips. I better close the closet door. Early the next morning. In a whisper, Chris, wake up. The truck is still here. We have to get to work. Remember those Valentine's cookie cutters? Let's make heart-shaped pancakes. Where's the pancake mix? Grab the griddle and some bacon. Start the coffee. Can you get the plates? And Matt, do you smell something burning? It smells like plastic. I need to check. Oh no, it's morning. If the girls are here, just be ready. She quickly put on a robe and headed out, while Matt got dressed. As she went down the hall, she heard noise coming from the kitchen. Girls? What is that smell? Nothing to worry about, Mom. Just a little cooking mishap. We've got it covered. Haley forgot that plastic cookie cutters don't belong on hot griddles, she laughed. True, but look at what we made. Heart-shaped pancakes for the lovebirds. So is there anything we should know about, Mom? Jamie turned red. Girls, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have... It's okay, Mom. You look happy again, and that's what counts. We'll be just fine. Seems like my meddling worked. About that? Look, here's Dad. Home at last. Haley! It's okay, Jamie. So how are my two favorite girls this morning? And happy Christmas Eve to both of you. Doing just fine, thank you for asking. Merry Christmas Eve to you too. We made you a special breakfast. After that, we plan to take some time for ourselves in the basement. Maybe for a week. We don't have a basement. Chris, what's going on? What has she done? How bad is it? Not sure yet, Mom. She might have really gone for it. The birthday girl definitely spoke her mind yesterday. She let Grandma and Grandpa have it. Honestly, I think that's a good thing. They may not visit much anymore. We set some new rules. Oh, no. Yup. I wouldn't be surprised if their Christmas presents are missing tomorrow. We might even be out of the will. And she talked to Matt. That was definitely a good move. Looks like some things have changed for the better. Chris, stop talking like your sister. One person like that in the family is enough. But she smiled. And last but not least, we spoke to Emily. You what? Oh my God, no, you didn't. Mom, Dad is doing the same things to her that he did to you. Think about it. He dates her, then gets her pregnant, marries her, and has another child. It seems like he's been more angry lately, with more weekend meetings and rushing to shower when he gets home. She needed to know. I don't think he's hurting her yet, but she didn't say much. She mostly listened. In any case, Mom, Chris and I don't know yet if this is good or bad. Dad's coming home today and he will be really upset with us. We can't be around. We can't go to his place like we were supposed to. It's Christmas Eve. He's supposed to have us until noon tomorrow. What should we do? Matt looked at Jamie. It sounds like you shouldn't go. If your mom agrees, I think you should stay here and enjoy some of these delicious pancakes. This is probably the best place for you, don't you think, Jamie? Yes. Let's sit down and eat. Then we can talk about it. Is there anything else you did on your birthday that I should know about? She said a bit sadly. No, that's it. 2 out of 3 is not bad, right? Maybe it's 3 out of 3, but you need some time. Jamie hugged her. No, it's fine. Stay. You're not going anywhere until we figure out what the storm has created. Matt? I'm sorry. You don't have to get involved in our family drama. That's not what I meant when we talked last night. But I haven't had any of these pancakes yet. Plus, the grass needs cutting. I think the girls and I need to hang out a bit. In that case, let's eat, but first I need some coffee. I think I need a big mug full. Now, who could that be at the door? Maybe you two should go back to Haley's room in case it's your dad. As she walked to the door, she said, Oh my, it's my mother. Haley? What did you say to her? Jamie opened the door, still in her robe and looking a bit messy. Mom? It's nice to see you. Did you leave something here? Or... No, Jamie, I'm here to say I'm sorry. I've been terrible to you. There's no reason for how I acted. I never understood, but I never asked. What kind of mother doesn't ask? Can I come in and talk for a bit? But if you don't want me to, I understand. Sure, Mom, please come in. Can I get you some coffee? Maybe something to eat? Coffee would be nice. Oh, you have company. Maybe I should go. No, it's okay, Mom. You must be Matt. I'm Heidi. I didn't get to meet you at the cookout. It's nice to finally see you. Is Haley working? Yes. Nice to meet you, Heidi. Jamie, I think I should head out. No, Matt, please stay. I've messed things up enough already. Can I just borrow Jamie for a few minutes? Is it all right if we talk in the bedroom? Sure. Let me grab those coffees. And Haley, I'm sorry for ruining your birthday. I also want to say sorry to you both for not being respectful to your mom. I can't believe how foolish I've been. I really believed what your dad told me. Those pictures. Jamie turned to Haley, who quietly said, Sorry. I hope you can forgive me and we can mend our relationship. She started to tear up. I want to be a part of your lives again. Your mom has done such a great job raising both of you. I really do care, even if it hasn't seemed like it. So please. Of course, Grandma. They hugged her. We love you too, Graham. I hope I didn't cause too much trouble at your house. I'm sorry if I did. He already knew. It was the worst mistake I made. But he always told me that I was wrong about this. That's why he stayed quiet. Thank you, girls, for showing me my fault. Now I need to talk to your mom. You three go ahead and eat. We may be a while. What's that smell around the pancakes? Is something burning? The girls laughed. Just Haley's special pancakes, Grandma. Good thing you missed them. Mother and daughter went to the bedroom and closed the door. Turning, Jamie, I am really sorry. I can't apologize enough for how I've treated you. It's okay, Mom. No. You need to know the truth. She began to cry. You were my biggest regret. I had a brief relationship while dating your father and found out I was pregnant. I thought my life was over. I was so ashamed and it caused so much pain. I thought everything was ruined. Your dad married me and has never spoken about it. My goodness, Mom. I had no idea, but it doesn't matter. He may not be my real father, but he is my dad. He will always be my dad. He loved you from the moment he found out. When you were born, I felt regret and thought about my past mistakes every time I looked at you. I was unkind and blamed you for everything. I turned away from you and welcomed your sisters instead. I was not a good mother. Your father often yelled at me about this, and it almost broke us apart. But he was worried about leaving you alone with me. Does that sound familiar? I was like a mean stepmother, but I was your real mother. Oh, Jamie, I am so sorry. You don't need to forgive me. I know I don't deserve it, but... She couldn't continue. Jamie hugged her tightly and whispered in her ear, Mom, it's okay. I get it. I understand why you felt that way. I love you, and we've both made mistakes. Let's turn a new leaf and start fresh. But wow, this will take some time to process. Dad knows you were going to tell me? She nodded. He wanted to do it a long time ago. Matt and the girls had breakfast and talked about everything that had happened in the last day. Then, there was a loud knock on the door that made the pictures on the wall shake. Haley? Chris? Is it always this loud at your house? No way. If it were, I would have volunteered to go to boarding school. Anywhere would be better. But it is Christmas Eve, so maybe it's a gift for me or something? Moving toward the door, she said, Oh no, it's Dad and he looks really upset. What should I do? The pounding got louder. I know you're all in there. Your cars are here. Open the door now. You two go with your mom. I'll handle this. They hurried down the hall while Matt opened the door. Matt! What are you doing here? We talked about that dishonest ex of mine. I thought you were smarter than this. Sorry to let you down, John. It seems you missed some important details about your actions. She's probably just lying to hide her own mistakes. It's different for guys. Now step aside and let me into my house. Those girls are going to face the consequences for what they did. Move out of the way. Sorry, John, this is Jamie's house. Why don't you leave for now and you can talk later when things are calmer? No way! The court order says I get the girls this Christmas, so I'm taking them now. Why don't you wait here until I check with Jamie? Matt closed and locked the front door, then walked to the bedroom and knocked. Jamie, what do you want me to do? I know you heard that. Matt, I'm so sorry you're caught up in this. Nothing like this has happened before, at least not since I was married to him. Be careful, Matt. He can't take the girls. I won't let him. He's dangerous. She stood up and her mom held her arm. Let me through, Jamie. No telling what he might do to you, but I think he wouldn't harm me. Maybe I can calm him down. Heidi walked to the door and opened it. What? You're here too. I thought I recognized your car. He suddenly seemed calm and friendly, just like an old friend. Heidi said, I don't have a problem with you, but the court says this is my Christmas time. I get the girls today and tomorrow until noon. I just want Jamie to follow the court order. It seems fair since Jamie had the girls last Christmas. Don't you think that's reasonable? John, you're clearly upset and still very angry, even though you're trying to calm down. You were about to break down the door. I worry about the girls' safety if they go with you, so I have to say no to your request. John's anger grew. He clenched his fists. Matt came to Heidi's side and she gently held him back. John, I'm sorry, but with how you're acting right now, it doesn't matter what the court says. If you have a problem, we can handle it in court. I don't think the girls should go to your house again. Their safety is our top priority. But remember, if we go to court, we'll also seek the child support you haven't paid. If you win, I'll appeal it everywhere. That will cost you a lot. Make sure it's worth the fight. No, we won't need court. I'm just going to call the police and have them take the girls. It's my right. I'm their father, and the court agreed to this. He stomped to his car and sped off. A neighbor named Carl walked up and gently knocked on the door. Heidi opened it and smiled. Carl, nice to see you. How can I help? Good to see you, Heidi. I heard everything. John scared me. He often yelled at Jamie, but this time was different. Please don't let him have the girls. He seems dangerous. If he calls the police, they might need to stop by my place for some details from an eyewitness. Thanks, Carl. We should catch up another time when things settle down. I'd love that. Just have them come to my place if needed. Merry Christmas, Heidi. Merry Christmas, Carl. An hour later, the police arrived. Jamie opened the door. Hello, officers. I'm Officer Benedict, and this is my partner, Kyla Rand. May we come in to ask you some questions? Of course, officers. What do you need? Are Haley and Chris here? Yes, they are. The court order states that it's your ex-husband's weekend, and he claims you're not letting him see the girls. He's right about that, but he left out some important details. Matt, what are you doing here? Oh, so you're the Jamie. That's correct. He was angry and threatening, clearly out of control. It would not have been safe for the girls to go with him. Why was he upset? Because the girls told his wife that he might be unfaithful to her, just like he was unfaithful to me. When I told him I called Emily, his current wife, he hit me in the face and seemed ready to hurt me for what I had done when I finally stood up to him. That morning, he made threats about getting back at them, and it scares me to think about what he might do. He has sent me to the hospital more than once. He was out of control. Let's sit down and talk. Is there anyone nearby who could back up what you're saying? Yes. Carl Wilkins next door saw everything. Kyla, why don't you go talk to him? I'll speak with the girls. So, Haley and Chris, why don't you want to visit your dad? He gets mad a lot, but I've never seen him as angry as he was today. We are both really scared to go there. If he drinks even a little, just take me to a shelter or call social services. I don't care. I just don't want to go to him. He used to hurt my mom all the time, even when he wasn't angry. But today, there's no way we're going. Haley is right, officer. We can't go. He'll hurt us. I just know he will. Isn't there another option? How old are you two? 16. 14, almost 15. You're getting older. I'm surprised you still have to visit him. Have you talked to the court, Miss Logan? Divorce courts are pretty unpredictable. I spoke with my lawyer and he advised against it. Judges often think both sides are lying and just come up with a decision they think is fair. I worry it could end up worse for the girls. A good friend of mine went through that. Unfortunately, I think you're right. They need to stay here. Let me talk to Kyla and then we'll speak with your dad. I'll also discuss this with my supervisor. Miss Logan, if you feel he has threatened you or the girls, especially if he comes back, you should think about getting a protective order. I'm not a lawyer, but you might want to ask the judge to review things if the situation changes, and keep the door locked. Thank you, officer. That's good advice. Let us know if you need anything else. After closing the door and taking a deep breath to calm down, I said, Well, Haley, thanks for making me feel older. 2 out of 3, Mom? She hugged me. Yes, Haley, 2 out of 3. Matt, these pancakes smell terrible. How did you eat them? I had to be polite, right? I'm feeling a bit sick and might need to excuse myself soon. He winked at Haley and we all laughed. Then the doorbell rang. Now what? I'm still in my robe and I haven't even had my second cup of coffee. Emily, oh my goodness, your face. Come in, come in. Girls, help with the kids. Starting to cry, she said, I'm sorry, Jamie, I didn't know what else to do. Where to go? I looked through all our papers like Haley suggested, and I saw that John was acting the same way around you. I talked to him earlier, but he was already upset that the kids weren't there. He started shouting and pushed me. I tried to protect myself, but when he hit me, everything went dark for a bit. When I woke up, he was gone. I called the police and they planned to take him in for his actions, but I worry they might let him go. What if he does something to the kids? I know I should get a divorce, but that takes time. I am terrified. I wish I had ended things when you called, but I just don't know what to do. This was the only idea I had. I'm sorry, Jamie. I should have left him earlier, but I was pregnant and... It's okay, Emily. You made a smart choice. Jamie hugged her tightly as she cried. You can stay here as long as you need. Come inside and sit down. Would you like some coffee? Haley, please put away your last attempt at cooking and make us some eggs. Mom, maybe you can help her. Mom, I can cook eggs. It's making the toast that's hard. Haley laughed. Chris, can you grab an ice pack from the freezer and a towel? We might need it for the swelling. Emily, do you think we should take you to the hospital? How is your head? Any dizziness or problems seeing? Matt, you know what to check for. Could you see her for a moment? Emily, if you got knocked out, it's probably a good idea to get checked at the hospital. Matt is here? Oh, Jamie, I'm so relieved. John said he would ruin things between you two, and I was scared he did. You both looked so happy at the party, until the end. I tried to stop him. Matt, I wish I'd talked to you, but I didn't know how. I'm sorry. Jamie, I really need some clean clothes and a shower. I feel all worn out. No, Stinky Daddy! Matt, you can't leave. We need you here, just in case something happens with my dad. Please! Heidi looked at Jamie. Stinky Daddy. That's just Haley's funny nickname for Matt. Heidi stepped in. Okay, here's a plan. Matt, make sure everyone is safe. Haley, you take care of the baby. Chris, look after Bailey. Jamie, why don't you make eggs for everyone? I'll take Emily to the hospital. Even on Christmas Eve morning, it might take a bit of time. Then we can run to the store for Emily's things and clothes for Matt. Shirts, sweatpants, and underwear okay, Matt? He nodded. Once they check that Emily is fine, I'll bring her home and we can figure out our next steps. Make sure to get the ones with the funny pocket, Haley said. Everyone paused and looked at her. What? I was just trying to make a joke, to lighten the mood. Matt laughed and the others smiled. Jamie shook her head. Good. We have our tasks. I should also get some airbeds since Emily will probably need to stay the night. But we can sort that out later. Matt, do you know how to find out if John has been arrested and how long he might be in there? Yes, I think I can. I can call some people I know to find out. Great. If he is in jail, maybe we can head back to Emily's later to get baby things. It looks like she hasn't brought what she needs. Emily should stay here, but it would be easier to grab the stuff from her house. Any questions? No? I'm going now. Come on, Emily. Matt, can I talk to you for a moment? In the bedroom? Sure, Jamie. He followed her down the hall. She closed the door, turned, and gave him a kiss. It was warm and full of feeling. A tear rolled down her cheek. Matt, last night was amazing. I'm so happy you came to see me. She sniffled. I've missed you so much. I felt so alone. It's only been a few months and it's still new for us. But I care about you so much. I hope all this craziness doesn't push you away. It's never like this. I promise. I never expected you would get wrapped up in something like this. So if you want to leave or if you see only trouble ahead, I would understand. He kissed her again. Jamie, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to be. It feels like home. So why don't you take a shower and get dressed? I'll deal with everything else. But first, let's share another kiss. She smiled and laughed lightly. I could use more of this. You may need to take me for a ride in your truck, or we could sneak over to your place to grab a few things. Deal? Deal. Later, while enjoying her second cup of coffee and some eggs, she asked, So, Haley, your 16th birthday was quite an adventure. Any plans for your 17th? Definitely not, Mom. I've done plenty of good deeds. The world is better for it. But Chris mentioned something about solving climate change or challenging the whole football team. Haley, I'm sure it would only be the starters. Chris rolled her eyes as the others laughed. You too, Mom? I'm sending my application to boarding school tomorrow. Besides, it would only be the offensive starters. I already dealt with the defense. Chris? So it's Christmas Eve. Let's get the presents out. Can we skip the cookies and milk this year? No way! Bailey's 3. She needs that, plus the night before Christmas and all the other traditions. She should get excited about these things. All right, we don't have any cookies, though. No problem, Mom. Chris and I can make some sugar cookies. Bailey can help, and then she can help decorate. We need to include her in all of this. Chris, will you be in charge of the cookies? Of course. We want them to be tasty. Unlike the pancakes. Look, here comes Emily and Grandma. We'll help her with her things. I have a slight concussion. No broken bones, and everything else looks good. Any news about John? I called someone on the police force. John is in. The judge won't see him until the 26th, so he will be there for a while. How about I take the van? I can try to get to Emily's and pick up some things. I could make a list, but it might be better if you came with me, Em. Do you feel up to it? She nodded. It seems you all have things under control. I'm going to spend time with Grandpa. She hugged Jamie. I hope you can forgive me for my mistakes. I was really wrong. Of course, Mom. Can you both come by tomorrow for lunch or something? I'd like that. She hugged the girls. And thank you for making this happen. Can I bring some gifts tomorrow? You and gifts are always welcome, Grandma. See you tomorrow. Merry Christmas. Come on, Matt. Let's get to bed. Tomorrow we'll start early. You're staying for Christmas, right? I wouldn't miss it. I just need a shower first. Is that all right? Only if I can join you. But we have to be quiet because of... I get it. We have to stay dressed and leave the door unlocked. Well, yes, but we could keep the door locked a bit and take off our clothes for a while. I'll need someone to help warm me up after the shower. It's been a long day, but mostly I'm just so happy you're here. I really need to hold you. I think this is the best Christmas I've ever had. Thank you for letting me be part of it. I know it's crowded and the kids make it chaotic. Jamie turned and hugged her. Emily, you're family. You'll always be family. Maybe we can make this a tradition. And honestly, your kids are great compared to Haley. Jamie, can we talk in the bedroom for a moment? Sure. What's on your mind? I'm not sure how to say this, but what is it, Emily? Just tell me. While I was looking for things for the divorce, I found a box. Inside were these... What are they? I'm not exactly sure, but I think they might be fake birth control pills. Here, look. Those are the ones I was taking when I got pregnant. I thought they were just a different brand. Me too. What? So that means that he switched our pills so we would get pregnant. What a low person. But Jamie, I also found these other pills. I had to check them online. And they're pills for ending a pregnancy. Oh no, she started to cry. You think he made me lose my baby? How could he? Emily only shrugged. This is unbelievable. I need to sit. She covered her face and sobbed. Emily hugged her tightly. I'm sorry, Jamie. Maybe I should have kept quiet. No, this might be the most meaningful Christmas gift. It means it wasn't my fault. I wasn't to blame. I was not a failure. I can finally forgive myself. Thank you. She squeezed Emily's hand. Thank you. Later. Mom, I think I did well with my birthday projects. Yes, Haley, you did great on your birthday. I'm going to take my two little ones to the bedroom to clean them up and get them ready for bed. Merry Christmas to all of you, and thanks again. So, girls, did you get what you wanted? Haley, I thought I saw a hint of disappointment. No, everything is wonderful, Mom. Thanks for everything. I was hoping to find a set of keys to a new car under the tree. Sorry, Haley, I told you. The budget. You'll need to use the van. Mom, I can't drive the van. It's too big. I've tried. I feel like I can't handle it. The steering isn't right, and the brakes are bad, and it makes strange noises. Jamie, I think she's right. I drove it yesterday, and it probably shouldn't be on the road. I don't know then. Maybe we can trade it in and find something else. Tell you what, Jamie. Give the van to me. I'll trade it in, and Haley and I can look for a safe used car. The van isn't worth much, but I can show her how to buy a car. Chris could come too, and I could help with the rest. But I don't want to if... Well, it's your choice, Jamie. I don't want to overstep. I can't let you do that, Matt. I mean, you know how I feel about you, and we've shared a lot, but you don't need to worry about my family's finances. I can't ask you to do that. I understand. But what if I became part of the family? Everyone turned to Matt. What? What if I became part of the family? He knelt down, pulled out a small box, and held it towards her. Jamie Logan? I know we haven't known each other long, but you and the girls feel like home, and I want to be together every Christmas and all the days in between. Will you marry me? Jamie stared, unmoving. Haley nudged her. Mom! Oh, yes, 1,000 times, yes. Oh, Matt, this is a dream. I know it is. She kissed him. No, that seemed real enough. She laughed and hugged him tightly. Geez, Mom, can we have some privacy? There are kids here. She held Matt tightly. Matt, I will work every day to make you happy. I promise. I guess that makes it 4 out of 3, right, Mom? Yes, Haley. So, Daddy, about that car. Haley, best Christmas ever. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of the exciting stories we have coming up. What do you think about the characters in this story? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.